Sox are now 3.5 games behind Kansas City for the third wild card. They're in Houston tonight. Also, they officially signed lefty Rich Hill to a minor league contract over the weekend, and last night promoted another one of their top prospects, infielder Christian Campbell, to AAA Worcester. The Patriots went to another practice yesterday in Foxborough. They were without their top two tight ends, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. The team's final exhibition game is on the road this Sunday night against the Washington Commanders. In other NFL news, former past defensive back Stephon Gilmore has signed a one-year contract with Minnesota, and Gardner Minshew has been named the starting quarterback in Las Vegas. The Philadelphia 76ers are reportedly closing in on signing former Celtics first-round draft pick Gershon Yabusele. He was a key player for France in the recently completed Summer Olympics. And 58-year-old Mike Tyson said yesterday he's now ready to fight. He'll oppose Jake Paul November 15th after an ulcer forced him to step away from this matchup last month. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Boston Prolotherapy. Don't let joint pain keep you off the court, course, or trail this summer. Eliminate that pain with Dr. Franke of Boston Prolotherapy. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Somebody about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na 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 na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show. You sweet.
America, y'all know him as Kevin Durant. I know him personally. His pronouns are he, him.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Is that rhetorical? You say it every morning. Are we supposed to say good morning? I mean,
It's
felt like I'm being
rhetorical would be a question, right? I mean, I'm making a statement.
no, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I'm not talking necessarily to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Or the world.
It pretty much is the world. We are the Toucher and Hardy Show, 617-779-0985, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can know that this is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Also, you can watch us on YouTube, which we strongly encourage you to do. Strongly get in on YouTube. And if you don't watch us live on YouTube, you're missing out on participating in the conversation that's up there, which I would highly suggest. Did everyone have a wonderful weekend?
Ah, yes.
Okay, I've been urinating enough that I Googled how many times you're supposed to urinate in a day. Would anyone care to venture guess into how much you're supposed to urinate in a day?
I would say they think you should be going 5 times a day.
I'll say 4 times a day.
You guys are saying they're saying you're supposed to urinate 4 or 5 times a day.
Yes.
So would you guys be above or below that?
I'm pretty much on the upper end, sometimes a little more than that, but 5.
I would say
sounds
5.
right.
I would say
Yeah.
5.
That you urinate 5 times a day?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, I urinate. You're supposed to be 8 times
Okay.
Whoa.
a day, and that is way low for me. Way low.
How many times a day do you find yourself urinating? Yeah, and it doesn't have to be exact. Just give me a.
I would say 14.
Wow. Now, are you drinking a lot of water?
What's that?
Are you drinking a lot of water?
I drink a lot of. I consume a lot of liquids. What'd you say?
Fred, you and well, we're almost on the same schedule. I find oftentimes when I'm in the bathroom during the show, I'll go once an hour during the show.
I don't usually.
There's 4 right there. Now we haven't even gotten to noon.
Yeah, because I usually don't. I usually probably go twice during the show and then once before I leave. So
Once when you get up, so that's 4.
Yeah, so that's 4.
Okay.
And then
when you get home.
And then when I get home.
Always when you get out.
And then
out of the car. Yeah.
During the naps.
Oh.
That's like because I got to pee before the nap because I don't want to keep having to get up, and then usually once during the nap. This includes overnight. I mean, this is a 24-hour period. That's why the idea of 4 or 5 is ridiculous.
I hadn't
over
thought about
24 hours.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about. Yeah, I think now that you're bringing up all the time, I usually go at least once during the show. Before the nap. Once after the show,
you go when you get up in the morning.
Yeah,
so that's 5 there.
Yeah,
Hold on.
no,
Hold on a
I'm on the
second.
low end.
Hold on, Wallach.
I'm on the low end.
I can all but guarantee there have been shows where you did not leave that chair.
No, I always go at least once during the show.
He usually goes during the show.
At least once.
I mean, I've been with him now for 15 years.
Okay.
He flies in there for once in a while.
Okay. Now, this might sound unbelievable, but it's happened more than once. I get up in the morning, I'll urinate then, and then there have been days when I haven't gone and actually driven home before I went again.
Really?
So that's from
Yeah.
4:30 until 11:30. It's happened. But I would say I can't even say generally once during the show. Maybe after the show.
When you urinate, you get up fewer times than anyone else. When you urinate, is it like super long? Like the
no,
duration?
but it's very thick. It's almost a mucusy.
All right. Is it? What I'm saying is, are you just not? Do you not have any liquid in your system?
Yeah, I think I'm perpetually dehydrated.
Okay, because I think there can be a low end of peeing too.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like drinking. They say once you break the dam, which I don't think has anything to do with anything. But then once I go, then I'll go again when I get home, or once I'm home, I'll go then, and then. The nap one is such a problem. You can go. I can go right before the nap, and then half an hour into the nap, I feel like I have to go again.
Yeah, it's not even overnight. Now, do you urinate during the evenings, like when you're asleep? Like, do you have to get up to go to the bathroom during the night?
Not so much anymore. I was before when I was getting more sleep, but the sleep duration is so short, I can generally get through.
See, I'm usually good for 1 a night during the sleep.
That's
and then
the worst.
So 24 hours. Like today at 3 a.m, I had to go to the bathroom.
Do you dream? Does your brain trick yourself into thinking that you've gotten up and gone to the bathroom and now you can go back to sleep?
Yes, and I've told you I've woken up with my soles of my feet on the bed, on the mattress, in a crab position, like a reverse crab. Like I was going to get up to go to the bathroom. And then I just fell back asleep, or I was only a quarter awake when I started getting up. So, obviously it's a problem. So anyway, I was wondering if I was diabetic because I Googled why you would urinate so much. But then every problem had every reason for urinating so much had some other symptom that I don't have.
That's a good rabbit hole to go down.
Like blood, which doesn't happen. Like difficulty getting a stream, which doesn't happen. There's no other. They're all normal pees. They're in substantial pees, except for before the nap or before I go to bed because I'm making myself.
Maybe you're just really doing a good job, or maybe too good of a job hydrating.
And I'm never super thirsty, because what they say about having diabetes is that you're consistently thirsty. That'd be a bitch if I got diabetes now. I'm in decent shape for me, and I would get diabetes at this point.
Yeah,
that would be no good. That would be a real twist of fate. have to get back to those habits.
Not to jump the gun on what happened last night, but this did happen yesterday. Thank you, Dan, for sending this to me. A former NFL player was arrested at Logan Airport apparently yesterday for allegedly urinating on a passenger.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Been in studio number of times.
Oh, okay. Let's see if you can guess. He's been in studio a number of times.
Within the last couple of years, Fred.
Mike Gorman.
Boston College alum.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who it is, Wallach?
I do.
Okay, Boston College alumni, a former Patriot.
No.
A Boston College alumni athlete.
Might actually be a former Lion.
NFL player.
First round pick.
Has been in here numerous times.
Two's a couple. Let's say a couple.
And he might have played for the Lions.
Oh no,
Let
he
me
did.
double check that.
Yeah, I believe. Yes,
For years.
absolutely.
Did play for the Lions.
Drafted by the Lions.
Yeah.
Out of BC. How old is he?
Right now he is 40.
All right, so that means he played in the 90s.
Somerville High School.
His last
Oh, now we
game.
know.
His last game was 2016.
Oh, no, that means he played in the 2000s. Okay.
Drafted in 2008.
Huh?
By the
And he's
Lions.
40?
Yep.
97 is when. I don't know. I have no idea.
His name is Gosder Sherilis. Thank you.
When the hell was he in studio?
I don't ever remember hearing him on the show.
either.
Came in with Calvin Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
He was the other guy.
Yeah, well,
I
I don't know.
There was three. He was the other guy.
Okay, that's right. That made sense. They both Lions. Okay. So he was arrested Sunday morning, 2 a.m. He lives in Wakefield. He allegedly urinated on a fellow passenger on a flight to Dublin. This happened around Sunday morning at 2 a.m. Delta Airlines diverted the plane. Returned it to the gate in Logan after Chairless allegedly urinated on the passenger. Delta has zero tolerance for unlawful behavior.
Boo! Boo!
Will cooperate with law enforcement.
Fuddy-duddies. Fuddy, you got it. What, you were drafted out of BC? Cool. Want to go to the bathroom on me? It was a decision that we both made. Well, we can get back to that later in the show. I enjoy that story. Demo, go ahead.
Block out the 8 and 9 o'clock hour.
Okay, got it.
We're going to go full into the whole peeing incident. Demo, go ahead.
Good morning, guys. Hey, Fred, I heard you talking about your urination, your frequency of urination, but I was going to say, have you considered also how high or low your salt levels are? Because up until recently, I had the same problem you had. It didn't matter if I drank a lot or if I didn't drink a lot, especially, but I found out that when I supplemented like electrolyte drinks, more so that are geared towards like if you lose a lot of water during the day, I was supplementing with a salt additive that my wife found, and it worked great. It actually stopped me urinating as much, especially the type of work that I do where I'm outside in the sun all day.
Wait, what?
And I'm on the elements, but
what
you might
about
want to look
salt?
into that too, because that might have something to do with it as well.
Demo, what about salt?
Because it might be that your salt level might be a little too low and your sugar level's a little higher. So if you maybe supplement like a salt additive or like an electrolyte salt additive to the water that you drink, it might actually help with that.
Oh, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Josh Finney says it's the Diet Cokes. Caffeine is a diuretic.
Yeah. I drink way too much Diet Coke.
Okay, so I was on the Pure Leaf unsweetened iced teas for a while, and I had to pee so much when I was drinking those iced teas. I had to just cut them out. Like I would have a half a bottle, like with dinner at 7 o'clock, and then I'd go an hour later, 2 hours later. I would be up at midnight going again. Like it was crazy, and there's not that I wouldn't even drink that much.
Yeah, I'm sick of cutting things out. But there's going to be a time where I'm going to have to at least slow down with these diet sodas. It's getting ridiculous.
I noticed too, like on days where I don't sweat or sweat as much, that you're not losing fluids that way. Like if I play golf and it's warm, like I'll just not go for the entire 4 hours on the golf course.
That's just because of it's very rigorous. There's no question about it.
I tend to carry when you and I rode that day, but generally I like to walk and carry and lose a lot of the 4 bodily fluids, all 4 of them.
I mean, that's like the same thing with the marathon. I mean, you go down your leg.
Blood. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that, that's why there's caddies, because they used to have the pros carry their own bags, but they would keep messing themselves 17th hole.
Yes. They
were just, I sweat. I usually do now that there's all this pee, it's strangely cool. See, my lifestyle's much healthier now. So I do generally do physical activity every day.
You're doing yoga and stuff. You must sweat during yoga.
I go to the gym. I got to walking 5 miles a day and all these things. It's very, I sweat. It's weird that this is all happening now. When I drank a lot, I didn't have to pee very much. So it just seems like, because you're dehydrated, So now I'm not dehydrated. I wonder if my body is still getting used to all this. Who knows? All right. Very good. When we come back, I guess the whole show will be about the pee guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's got to be an embarrassment. If he was drunk, that's going to be very difficult the next morning. Oh, boy. Like, what did I do?
I'm very surprised at the possible ramifications here.
There are a lot, aren't they?
No.
Oh, really?
Well,
it's going to be a rain this morning, but what specifically is the charge?
Okay.
Cool guy.
So the maximum punishment for disorderly conduct is only a $150 fine.
Yeah.
Disturbing the flight crew, though, that's a felony charge, carries up to 20 years in prison.
Yeah, I would imagine
That's a heck of a discrepancy right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
This whole stupid crew. Mind your P's and Q's. Get out of the way. We had an arrangement. I was going to pretend to be disturbed. It was all part of the role playing.
They told him to leave the plane once it went back to the gate, but he became irate and uncooperative. What is he, 6'8"?
He is, 6'7", 315.
Yeah,
Probably that's his playing weight. I would imagine he weighs a little more than 315.
Yeah, I would imagine too, or significantly less.
Or he weighs 240.
Yeah. There's only 2 ways those guys go. They either get much, much bigger or everything shrinks. How did your skull get smaller, Teddy Bruschi? How did you manage that?
Yeah. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Ryan from One. last night.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going on already?
How about those Red Sox, huh? They're knocking on the door of that last playoff slot, and now, after losing to Baltimore, they split that 4-game series. Alex Cora, what happened?
I think we did a good job, taking our singles, whatever, but when it matters, we weren't able to catch in.
Oh, well, it seems to be the mantra with Cora lately, in that he's happy with the way they play, even when they lose. Yeah, we did a pretty good job.
Yep. Like a pitcher going out there and getting bombed. He's like, I thought I had good stuff.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what he sounds like lately. And I don't know if he's kind of like relegated himself to, it's probably not going to happen, which doesn't seem like it's quite the time to be doing that. Cutter Crawford went 5 1/3. He allowed 3 runs on 2 hits. He had 4 strikeouts. But
yeah, they're not making the playoffs.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
No, it's too tough. They're at Houston, who they can't beat. Then they got to play Arizona, who's maybe the hottest team in baseball. I would imagine they have to be one of them. And they got to play the Mets. And then they got Orlando. They got Baltimore, New York.
Yeah, no, this is
Minnesota. It's
the wrong time for the schedule to get hard.
Yeah, it's too much.
They've had so many guys playing over their heads for so long, and there's been a regression, especially pitching-wise, back towards the actual talent of the individual. And the hitting actually hasn't been bad. It's been the pitching that's let them down recently.
Did you see the bats they were able to use this weekend?
Yes, I did. Connor Wong was, I think it was Friday night I saw him. It looked like a blue Crayola crayon.
Yeah, there was
very strange.
A guy from Toronto had this bat that looked just like a pencil, like a number 2 pencil.
Yeah.
He hit a home run with it. But it was very cool. It was very interesting. If they let the players do that all the time, everyone would watch baseball.
Fun-colored bats?
I guarantee you that's an opinion you'll hear or you heard over the weekend. I assure you.
Oh,
sure. They should do that all the time. It would be everyone would watch.
It'd be like this secret you can unlock on a video game.
It would just be like a punishment to parents. Is what it would be. It would be like, oh, hey, here's something that no one cares about. And then, one kid would go, I want one of those. And then the next thing, everyone would have to run out and buy a effing bat.
Yeah.
Because these sports, I don't know if you know it, if you have young kids or you're planning to have kids or even if you just might have kids, just know that the older they get and the more the older they get playing sports, the more serious it gets and the more expensive it gets by a tremendous amount.
Right. And if you're really lucky, as they get older, they don't stop growing. So even the more expensive stuff, they will outgrow, whether it's the length of a lacrosse stick or the
goalie pads,
the cleats that they need, anything.
Yeah, well, cleats, I mean, if they play enough, you're going to need new cleats all the time anyway. But but I mean, my son still outgrows stuff, but the amount that this is costing me is getting well into the 5 figures. Like, not well into it, but it's 5 figures a year.
Does he still use the batting cage?
Oh God, yeah, every day. I wouldn't pay this much money if it wasn't for that he is so motivated.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredibly motivated. It's all he wants to do.
That's
a good thing.
Because I mean, whatever. I mean, this isn't, because I think I'm going to not have to save for retirement. I mean, this is, this is because it's what he likes to do. If he wasn't trying, I wouldn't care. But, he's trying, so there you go.
All right, let's check in with former Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. What was he doing over the weekend?
Jones turns and throws for the whole thing, and he's boom!
He threw a touchdown pass.
Parker Washington from 25 yards away. Man, that is a great read, great execution, quarterback and wide receiver. You can see the coverage bust right in the middle. Mack alerts it and drops a dime to Parker Washington. So right now, Brian, we've seen it. The stars of training camp have not only been able to do what they've done in practice, they've done it in games. If you're the coaching staff, Parker Washington, Tank Bigsby, Mac Jones, man, what a trio. They have played well this preseason.
Look out, right. Super Bowl.
All right.
Frank Brisby.
Parker Washington.
Parker Washington, Frank Brisby.
Yep.
And Mac Jones. Mac Jones threw a touchdown. Can you imagine being in the NFL? Is this his 5th season? Or this is his 5th season, right?
Yeah. He was gone after his original contract ran out with the Patriots. Yeah.
So this is his 5th season.
Yeah.
Or is it his 4th season? It's his 4th season.
4 or 5.
It's his 4th season.
All right.
3 years as a starter, basically, in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for his
McDaniels,
OC, Patricia O'Brien.
O'Brien, yeah.
So this is 4.
So 3 years in the NFL, and he was able to throw a touchdown pass. It's unbelievable. What an exciting thing.
But he threw a touchdown pass, split 2 safeties. I'm thinking any NFL quarterback should be able to do
Well,
this.
they said that on a busted coverage. I mean, it's like, oh, you threw it to the open guy.
I don't care what he did. He was been in the NFL. This is his 4th season. Wow, he threw a touchdown pass.
You know something? And excuse me, you big jerk. He's also bringing that joie de vivre that Mac Jones is known for. It's the flair. All right? It's the personality. It's the charisma.
What's up, everybody? Mac Jones here. Preseason game 2 done. We got the dub. Appreciate y'all. Peace. Duval.
Oh.
What does Duval mean?
Duval
County.
Duval County, baby.
Where Jacksonville is.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be doing that too much.
Oh, no,
that's nothing to be proud of.
That's a thing.
It's a
That's
thing.
a thing. Kendra Middleton did it when she was sitting
I don't.
here
A
last
thing
weekend.
with who?
Kendra Middleton.
No, a thing with people from Jacksonville?
Yes.
Yeah, again, nothing to brag about. You stupid hick, you couldn't make it anywhere else. That's why you're rotten in Jacksonville. No one in Jacksonville wants to be. That was no one's first choice. Where do you want to go? Oh, let's see. I want to go to Florida. Okay, good enough. Where? Oh, I don't know. Real dump in the north. I couldn't. I want to be with all the glitz and glamour of this hellhole. Jacksonville sucks. It's a terrible place. I don't know how they finagled the NFL into a franchise there. A book is going to come out, I don't know when, but in our lifetimes about whatever that con dude did to get a franchise in Jacksonville. Of all the cities, Jacksonville, Florida.
The thing is, Shad Khan's desperately been trying to move that franchise out of there. He's been unable to do so. He wanted to go to London so bad, and they wouldn't let him go.
They play 3 games a year in London or something. They move over there.
And instead, now he's been forced to renovate the stadium he's in.
Is this something you guys and everyone else knows, that it's his son, I guess, who is kind of like running a lot of this stuff there?
Well, he has one son that does the AWA.
But he's got one son, and somebody was just telling me about this. They were at some event, and the son was walking around in a bathrobe and like one of these ginormous magnums of champagne, and like doing the caricature of the Richie Rich kid whose father is the billionaire, and I'm going to walk around.
Was it ironic statement? Like, was he joking
that's
around?
Like how he behaves.
Oh, well, he'll live forever. What could go wrong? I'm sure he's really happy.
Oh dear.
You can look at is wearing is that faking like a Hugh Hefner thing? Because walking around in a bathrobe can mean a lot of negative things as well.
When I was in Las Vegas, we gave away for a Super Bowl prize a big screen TV and a party with Extreme Radio. We were going to come to your house and have the Super Bowl party there, and we showed up in the north end of Las Vegas, not a nice neighborhood, and pull onto the street with the promo van and the TV and everything else, and we're like, oh boy, a lot of chain link fence, a lot of dogs who have not been out of those yards in a long time. And we walk up to the door. They were expecting us, and the man was in his bathrobe. I'm like, huh? Not an overweight gentleman. Like, I don't have clothes. This was a guy who was so methed out of his mind. He probably had not put on clothes other than the bathrobe, because it allows the air in while your core body temperature gets up to about 104.
So
105.
what I was going to say, like, you go over to your uncle's house, and it's one thing you're walking around in a party with a bathrobe on and a magnum of champagne. You go to your uncle's house, he's got a bottle of Old Granddad, and he's in a bathrobe in the middle of the day. You're going, oh boy.
This guy's vibe was the dude toward the end of Boogie Nights when they go in there. They're going to do the cocaine deal.
Is he wearing a kimono?
Yeah, he's wearing a kimono, and Cosmo's in the background setting off firecrackers. That's Cosmo. He's Chinese.
Yeah, we did. I did that it's funny that you guys did that. I did that every night. Not every night. Every week they had me broadcast from someone's house. And
so bad.
And I just rigged it so it was all within like a mile of the station. I wouldn't go anywhere. Like I wasn't gonna go out of my way to go to someone's house.
Yeah. All I remember is being pissed because I wanted to watch the game, but I wouldn't go back inside that house, and I just stayed out in the van and did the breaks from the van.
I did what I would do is I would go into the house for half an hour, and then I would do all the breaks in the van and then leave. I would load all the breaks in and leave. I didn't stick around.
Let's check in with Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, who has plans for Michael Penix, or plans that aren't really plans.
We've seen enough last week of Michael Penix and the live stuff, and now we had the chance to mitigate him in practice. And, we give him a bunch of live stuff out there in practice that you do everything that you would do in a game other than get hit. But, we feel really good where we're at with Michael. We feel really good where we're at with the other guys that we set, and we treated that the same way. But Mike showed us last week enough that we don't have to play him in the preseason.
Shut him down.
One game. One game for a rookie. No problem.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes was playing. I heard Josh Allen played. I think I heard Josh Allen play. I know Mahomes played because he did behind the back pass.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, he
everyone's
did.
up in arms about that. They love that.
But it was kind of cool. I mean, he went behind his back, and you don't see that every day. So they all play.
It was very Uncle Rico.
I like that he did it. You
shovel
guys
pass.
are all fuddy-duddies. Yeah, he didn't. Josh Allen didn't play. My son's full of crap.
No, Josh Allen did not play this last week.
But Russell Wilson played in that game.
Oh, he was spectacular, wasn't he? Right, boy, they happy they got him.
They split their losses.
If Mike Tomlin is able to finish 9-8, 8-9 with Justin Fields and that guy, Russell Wilson, as his quarterback, this might be his best coaching job ever. Those two guys are awful.
Who? Justin Fields?
Yes.
I disagree. I don't think Justin Fields.
The two of them have been atrocious
Justin
so far.
Fields was not bad at the end of last year. He really wasn't, in my opinion. We've had analysts on who said that he was.
Chicago did much better at the end of last season. I think they won 7 games. Does that sound right? I think they won 7 games this last year.
They should have won 8 because when I saw him play, and maybe this is why I'm high on him. I saw him play in a game that they really should have beat the Lions, and he went crazy. Like I think he had 150 yards rushing or something, and he was their whole team.
But here's the thing. He may not start. Russell Wilson may get the first 3-4 weeks, whatever it is, and Fields is in a new offense and hasn't looked good in it, at least the one time I saw him play. All I'm saying is, with Russell Wilson, if you gave Justin Fields like a clear landing area and said, okay, this job is yours, yeah, I could see him evolving, but Wilson's in his way.
Okay, so we have Tomlin talking about the quarterback evaluation. We also have Patrick Mahomes talking about his behind-the-back pass. So would you like to do those next, Fred?
Yeah, we can. Look at you. Yeah, we can do those next.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell someone was at Extreme Radio in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
They know how to.
That's where you develop those chops.
Yeah, especially
You
doing
chop
math.
it up.
Yeah, you
Chop it up. Bravo! Chop it up.
You grind it, chop it, snort it. We'll be right back.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox lost in Baltimore yesterday 4-2.
Hardy, what's going on?
All right, let's first hear from Mike Tomlin, who's evaluating the quarterback situation there in Pittsburgh.
It's somewhat of an incomplete study because you just don't get a chance to see them operate or us establish rhythm and personality when you're not winning possession downs. And we weren't. The first 3 or so series of the game, it was 3 and out, and you're not going to get an opportunity to establish rhythm or play the way that you would like as an individual or a collective.
Yeah, Russell Wilson sacked 3 times in that game. I didn't watch it. But he loves getting sacked. Boy, did his offensive line hate him in Seattle.
You know what? You could protect me for 8 seconds. I'm going to run around, and I'm not throwing the ball.
I just remember you and I having an argument with someone about the offensive line being pissed at Russell Wilson.
That was a caller. I remember this, too.
And it was just this, blank, you were talking. It was so frustrating. We were talking to it like a blank wall. Just if he's sacked, it means that I don't know if it was a caller. If he's sacked, it means that people are getting through. Yeah, but if you hold on to the ball, they have to hold their blocks for longer, which makes it infinitely more difficult. Yeah, but and then it was just okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Just, if you don't understand, you don't understand.
Yeah,
his offensive line, for a fact, is angry with him, so that's true. I mean, and you don't hear that every day, that the offensive line's pissed at the quarterback. So they're you're making us look bad because you're screwing around back there too much.
Yeah, the sacks don't exist in a vacuum. There's a lot of reasons why they happen.
And there was always, remember the argument about hurries? And that a hurry is very valuable too? And then it was no, it's not. Well, yeah, what are you, an idiot? Of course it is. If you make them get rid of the ball, just throw it out of bounds, that's, down where they didn't gain any yards, dum-dum. Just because they didn't sack them in the backfield. Because Nick Saban had said something he had admonished the press because they were saying, you didn't get to the quarterback today. He goes, what do you mean we didn't get the quarterback? He said, we had 15 hurries. And they're oh. And then you're yeah, you can't judge the effectiveness necessarily of a defensive lineman, or a pass rusher, necessarily just on sacks alone.
Does Russell Wilson have anything left?
No. I wouldn't have. Look,
they got him for nothing. He's going to be 36 around Thanksgiving.
They're not paying him. Well, yeah, he was the Andrew Luck RG3 draft. So, yeah, he's old. And also,
it's Mr. Unlimited Tom.
His teammates hate him, and he's not good anymore. Everyone seems to like Justin Fields, and I don't think Justin Fields is bad. I think Justin Fields could be a middle-of-the-road quarterback with some explosive ability. Whatever he's doing wrong, and I can't analyze quarterbacks, but whatever he's doing wrong seems fixable. Russell Wilson does not seem fixable. And I saw Russell Wilson play a few times last year. I mean, he was benched last year. No, I don't like Russell Wilson.
The key is, when does Tomlin pull the ripcord? Because Wilson's going to start the season. And the question is, how far does he go with him?
You're positive Wilson's going to start the season?
I'm not positive. But
I'm not positive.
Right now, he seems to be the guy who's the starter.
If you were a Steelers fan, who would you want to start?
If I'm a Steelers fan, I want Fields.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I do.
Because at least there's hope there.
Yeah.
With Russell Wilson, there's no hope. They wasted that pick on Najee Harris.
That's right. Another disaster.
First-round pick on Najee Harris. No.
Well, we were also talking about Patrick Mahomes and his highlight reel pass to Travis Kelce. He talked all about it.
Long story short, Travis didn't run the route he was supposed to run.
Oh, throwing Travis under the bus.
They have fun.
And then it was kind of a behind-the-back pass, kind of because I was mad. I was pissed off at Travis. He was supposed to run a flat route. I don't know if you can hear me on the broadcast. I'm yelling at him, and then he doesn't run it. So out of spite, I do a behind-the-back pass, but now it's going to be a highlight.
Oh, that's awesome because you just improvised it.
Yeah, why don't you just put it in your mouth? I'll tell you. You just get it over with and ask him if he wants it.
You showed him.
You're taking it out right now?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I hate Travis Kelce. I really hate him. One of you guys sent me the video or put it in Slack or something of him. They were just asking who's the GOAT in basketball of all time. And they're standing out in front of a training camp practice.
Yeah.
And people are Jordan. A bunch of people said Kobe. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. Like, they're da-da-da. And then Travis Kelce comes up and goes, yeah, man, you know, dude, it beat it. And you're like, oh, my God, dude. Like, someone's got to put a governor on you. $100 million for that podcast him and his brother won. When he's 30, how long? He's in his 30s.
Yeah.
So the NFL career is almost over. And then that Taylor Swift thing's not going to last forever. And then you're just going to have two bozos doing
I
some.
knew it, you knew it, but they ain't know it.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's ridiculous. He's might as well do the Sammy Davis Jr. impression that Chris
We
used to
do this for you guys.
He's going to be 35 in October.
His legs are going to fall off. Draft Sam Laporta in your fantasy draft.
Can you dig it?
He's like a big wrestling dork, and then he speaks. It's almost like he's faking Jamaican. It's almost.
Let me hear you say,
It's offensive. He's from Cincinnati. He doesn't talk.
Let me hear you say, hell yeah.
Oh, I hate him. I really hate him. I don't dislike an athlete nearly as much, any other athlete as much as I dislike him.
Did you hate Gronk?
No. I just thought Gronk was an idiot. I didn't think Gronk was funny, but I didn't begrudge. I didn't like the fan base, and I didn't like everyone pretending he was funny.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like. And I also didn't like the insisting. Another thing I didn't like on this show was the insisting on he was going to be good on TV, which just shows your instincts are terrible.
I was guilty of that. I thought he was going to be good.
I argued against, I think Zoe more than Beetle, but maybe Beetle a lot too. Like all the money he was going to go make after football. I said, doing what? Movies. No, it's not going to be in the movies. Wrestling. Compared to what he's going to make playing football? No.
Oh, he could wrestle, yeah. I mean, he could wrestle, but I don't know how much money he's going to make wrestling.
Exactly. It's like, oh, he's got plenty to do. I said this is what also kind of bugged me about it was this insistence on being great at the next thing. When did it not be enough to be the greatest at one thing once in your life? The fact that he is was or is the greatest tight end to play the game, and for a time he was. You could argue it, I understand, but how is that not enough for one person? No, now he's going to go be the greatest at this or the greatest at that. Probably not, number one. And number two, why would you even need that?
But people can't differentiate the reason people put up with it and pretended it was funny was because he was the greatest tight end of all time. Every year you're further removed from being the greatest tight end of all time is another year that people just don't want to hear you talk anymore. The Gronk bus and this and that and his brothers and everything. I mean, he had a 10-year run with it.
Yeah.
And it was great. Good for him. And he'll make money endorsing stuff. I mean, he'll endorse stuff for, a long time. He'll make millions of dollars.
I think he's found his niche, and that is being like the professional ambassador. I'm telling you, when he did the marathon stuff with me and you, Wallach, he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he should be doing.
He was very comfortable doing
professional
that.
ambassador.
We had him on once a week his rookie year, which tells you something that he was able to finagle that because usually they don't like it. And he was a good interview half the time. Really half the time. But he's really dumb. I mean, he's dumb. He is. He's dumb. Like in real life dumb.
Well, when you put him behind the desk and he's trying to do the game breakdown and all that stuff, and I understand he's got a great football acumen and a brain
I don't know.
For playing,
Yeah.
but when it comes to like analyzing and talking about it, that's a different skill set, and I wouldn't expect him to have it. I think it's enough for him to just be as good as he was at playing football. What he's good at now, and he doesn't sound dumb. He's like completely like friendly and engaged and just the right amount of goofiness to go out there and be the marathon guy and then be the corporate guy who shows up at your event for a couple of days and then be the Dunkin' spokesperson. That's perfect for him.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm happy for him. That's enough.
And who should feel bad for him? He's making millions, probably a couple, $3, $4 million, $5 million a year doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's better. I'd rather do that, quite frankly, than have to be in the studio and babble about football all day. I'd rather just go shake hands at some conference.
What else did Patrick say about that?
Is that what you're telling us? Is it just all improv?
100%. That's what I've been trying to say to everybody. It can't be planned. It's got to be just naturally happen, kind of in the groove of things. And so I actually forgot about it until halftime. Someone actually brought it up to me, and it wasn't like I planned that at all, or it wasn't a called play. It just kind of happened.
Well, it's not as cool when you keep talking about it. I thought it was cool. John's very dismissive of it, but I thought if you don't know, Patrick Mahomes went behind his back to Kelce in the preseason game. He played in a preseason game, which is commendable. Mm-hmm. And Travis Kelce, I'm not sure if I'd play him in a preseason game. This has got to be it for Travis Kelce. Maybe they don't win again. That would be nice.
Finally, I'm sure you guys were all watching this yesterday.
Oh, boy.
The St.
Here we go.
St. Jude Championship. Hideki Matsuyama with a 5-stroke lead to start the day. Makes a bogey on 12, makes a bogey on 14, makes a double on 15. The lead is gone. The lead is gone, Fred. What does he do? He birdies 17 to retake the lead, and then...
And Hideki Matsuyama pours in a birdie to make it official. He's got his first playoff win. It came with all sorts of drama.
Oh, yeah.
But Hideki headed to the BMW as the champion here in Memphis.
The first of the three-legged FedEx Cup playoff series. 70 players yesterday, 50 advanced to the BMW, and they will wind up with 30 at Eastlake in Atlanta, Fred, where I'm sure you played many times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff.
He had a new caddy on the bag. They were in Paris, and they got robbed, and they lost their passports, and his caddy couldn't make it to the U.S., so he had to get a different caddy, and looked like maybe that was biting him in the ass at the end of that round, but he pulled it together. So congratulations to Hideki Matsuyama.
It's amazing what those guys can overcome.
Yeah, that's you know what? Thank you for saying it so I didn't have to.
Yeah, they really did. They really show you what's going on. And by the way, if you like Russell Wilson, Bo Nix is probably going to be better than him this year.
Bo Nix very good last night.
Yeah, he's also 100, so good for Bo Nix.
Good.
I need the football to start. I really want the summer to be over. This year. I need football to start. I need that happening on Sunday. I need all this fawning over people, the wrong people, and fretting over the wrong people. I need it all to end. I want football starting. I really do. All right. If you were trying to watch baseball yesterday, you had a big problem. And if you want to watch it in the future, there might be a new way. We'll talk about it.
Let me hear you say,
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can call us 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and do us a favor.
Can I ask you a question?
Huh?
Why have that vending machine in our office if they never stock it?
I don't know. They don't put any Diet Coke in there.
No Diet Coke, no bottled water, no seltzer. You can get a Coke or a Dr. Pepper, which, believe me, I would enjoy. But, I'm also not going to drink a Coke or a Dr. Pepper at 7 o'clock.
I just don't know why you're buying bottled water. That just seems unnecessary.
Because the water thing over there is broken.
Well, just get tap water.
I was already there, and I didn't have a Diet Coke, and they didn't have the seltzer. I'm like, fine, I'll just buy a bottle of water.
No,
and he can't even do that.
It's just tap water in a bottle. John, go ahead.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say that Patrick Mahomes has been practicing that in training camp, that behind the back pass, and that Travis Kelce is a jabroni. Can't agree with you more, Fred. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so how do you know that Mahomes has been practicing it? I'm curious. I love to expose a liar. I enjoy that very much. I love exposing the liars. So if that is true, then shame on him. And you'll have to excuse Hardy. He's going to be distracted the entire break because he just saw that 5 people were hurt in a shooting at the Franklin Park golf course.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And anytime you remember him during that Scheffler, when Scheffler went nuts.
Oh, yeah, we lost him for about 20 minutes there.
I mean, he legitimately looked stricken.
Yep.
And it's not even because the people got hurt. He could care less about that. He's like, why couldn't you gone down the street like 3 blocks?
Right.
And city for the golf course.
And it's the William J. Devine golf course. People called it, affectionately refer to it as Franklin Park, but it's William J. Devine.
And everyone always goes, yeah, it's a decent course, for being in the ghetto. Oh, it's a decent course. I wouldn't never go there on the count you could get shot.
On account of, who used to say that? Larry on Leave It to Beaver? On account of?
Yeah. Larry Mondello. So my father, when we first moved to Detroit, I'll get to the streaming thing in a second, but when we first got to Detroit, it was a real scene. So my parents met in Manhattan. They were both from New York, but not New York City. They met on Fire Island, actually.
Aristocrats.
Yes, indeed. From Fishkill, New York. It's right next to the city. And my mother was from Commack, which is a beautiful part of Long Island. So they met in New York City, and then they moved to Pittsburgh. And then they moved to Detroit. My dad got offered a job. I told you he got offered a job. He came to Detroit, worked for the WB Donor Company. And when they first moved to Detroit, my dad had an MG. And he parked it in the driveway, and when they came out, the MG was up on blocks, and they had taken everything off of it, including the doors. It was like a shell of a car.
It was like it had been in a chop shop, but it had been in your driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they claimed it was the first night. Let's just say it was. It was one of the first nights.
Okay.
Also, when they were there, our neighbor across the street, Mrs. Hill, told them, "Welcome to the neighborhood. You are..." I got up like a month ago and went to go get something to drink, and there were 2 men in our house robbing it. And they went, "Oh, great." And then my dad had to work in Southfield and take the lodge, and they said, if you're on the lodge freeway and someone bumps into you with their car, under no circumstances pull over because they'll kill you and take your car. And that was a wave of things that were happening in Detroit. And the best part, though, is everyone talks about Franklin Park Golf Course or whatever you called it. My dad,
William J. Devine.
There's this big event at the Detroit Country Club. My dad is like excited. He's like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna rub elbows." There's these, the Ford family's got a German mansion there. Like everyone's gonna go. He goes there, and they have Dobermans on chains that they keep out there overnight and during the day to keep people off the golf course. They had trained Dobermans on the golf course. At the time, like the elite of Detroit were rubbing elbows. That city had its problems. I don't think that Coleman Young as a mayor was on the level. I don't think he had the people in the best interest.
He didn't do a lot to unite either.
No, he was a little race baity. Yeah, a little bit of a race baiter. It can go the other way too. You get a African American gentleman in the office. He can stir things up a little bit himself.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was not looking out for anyone's best interest. He was lining his pockets. If you want to read about corruption, I'm sure you don't know about it here. I've never seen any of those movies.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
And those of you listening in Rhode Island obviously have no.
Yeah, they're rolling their eyes at that. They're like, oh, please.
Well,
Rhode Island, man.
Well, the greatest story about all that is you guys all know Beverly Hills Cop, and we've talked about this. The guy that plays Axel Foley's boss, it was a real chief of police in Detroit.
It's Gil Hill?
Gil Hill.
Okay.
So Gil Hill, White Boy Rick, there's documentaries about it. Gil Hill, his daughter, or Coleman Young's daughter, was dating like the biggest drug dealer in Detroit. So he put a security service on his daughter. So basically people in the mayor's office and the police office were following around the biggest drug dealer while he drug dealed, and they were just like, cool, and didn't do anything about it.
Just to make sure that the mayor's daughter was safe.
Yes, and they had a video of Gil Hill in a car talking to federal agents, undercover federal agents, saying that he would allow a plane to come in with a bunch of cocaine on it, and that if they gave him money. It was on film. So he goes, he gets arrested, he gets arraigned. I don't know what happens to him. All I know is that he ran for mayor like 3 years later and almost won. They had him on video just saying, yeah, you'll fly into the Detroit airport, not Metro, but like the Detroit airport. You'll fly in on a plane. I'll make sure no one bothers you. Like, just give me this amount of money on video. The FBI or the DEA, like a federal, like not, someone just taping on their iPhone. And they said, and he almost won. He almost became the mayor of Detroit. Not a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah, Providence had a guy who went to jail, got out, and did win.
Well, that's like Marion Barry when they caught him with crack and like hookers, and then he went and he turned around and ran.
Buddy Cianci, a legend down in Providence.
Buddy Cianci, jeez. I started listening to a podcast about that so I could get like the full history of Buddy Cianci. After like the fourth episode, I'm like, I got to tap out. This is too wacky. I can't believe any of this actually took place.
Cianci's story is quite amazing.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is amazing to read about that stuff when you think about what in your life you've gotten in trouble for, and that there's guys running around that are still, they get caught, and it doesn't affect them at all. They get caught, and it's just like it's like a minor inconvenience. Like, we make fun of someone, it's a big deal. These guys are going out there committing these abhorrent felonies and walking away just fine. All right. I didn't have time to get to my big streaming thing, but apparently Nesson crapped out last night. Oh, yesterday afternoon during the game.
For long period, like half an hour, just gone. And that people who wanted to cut the cord and be smarter than everyone else couldn't watch the game last night.
Yeah, because if you didn't know, there was this proposed idea that they were going to put together Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery. We're all going to get together. Thank God Discovery's in there. And they were going to have a streaming service for like $49.99 a month. It was going to be ESPN, TNT, and Fox Sports 1, ABC, and Fox. So the idea was you would have 14 channels in total, as well as ESPN's existing streaming service, ESPN Plus, which I'm sure you guys use all the time. I don't even think John has an ESPN Plus account. He's not a mover, shaker, headline maker. And you would not have to have cable. If you were a sports fan, you were going to be able to get all this without cable. And a judge has come out because Fubo TV came out and said, I'm going to sue you. You can't do this. And a judge said they agreed. And he said that it violated anti-competitive law and put an injunction on it, blocking the new streaming venture from coming live. And so they'll have to pay off more people before that comes a reality. I heard a guy on the radio yesterday who was disappointed by that. Disappointed that a judge said no. And then he explained why, and I still couldn't understand. He said it was like a streaming service that would have everything. Okay. Well, you have everything now. But it's a streaming service.
But he wants it better. Send your complaints to Fubo.
Exactly. If you have Fubo, God bless you. I don't know how you get it, but you can get it. Because Sunday tickets like $500. Do you get Sunday tickets still, John?
No.
Of course you don't.
After DirecTV lost it, I decided not to renew.
Oh, you cheapskate. Because between DirecTV and Sunday Ticket, the old one, you were probably paying $500 a year.
Yep, but we got a discount every year by calling up threatening to cancel. So.
I know.
I would threaten to cancel, and they would just go, okay.
We always manage to get a cheaper deal.
I don't watch anything. All I do is I set a timer for Red Zone so I can watch every touchdown from every game, and that's all you need to see
Once
to
you
know
get
what
over
happened in the NFL that day.
It's really phonetic when you first start watching it, but after a while you kind of get into a rhythm, and you're like, this is great.
I couldn't watch Red Zone when it first came on, and now I prefer it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's the Patriots, Lions, or like a really good matchup. Okay, I literally want to see every snap of the game. If it's a close game, it doesn't matter. But otherwise, oh no, I find myself drifting over to Red Zone sometimes middle of the first quarter.
I don't miss DirecTV. I don't miss the package that much.
See, I need it. I'm not just some local Joe Blow. I need it. I need to see what's doing. Bill Simmons had the best line about Red Zone. He said it was like when those edited pornos where it's just a bunch of when the guy's successful.
Yes.
In a row.
Yeah.
He said you need some plot. You need some background. You need to know why.
A something compilation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk to Mike Reese, and also a headline that I found to be very humorous. It will take 2 seconds, but we'll be right back with that.
Dutcher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy. What about this headline seems fishy to you? And then we're going to get to Mike Reese. Ryan Seacrest's ex seriously injured after swallowing shards of plastic from beverage on American Airlines flight. She's filing lawsuit. She is filing a lawsuit. It's Amazing Race contestant Shanna Wall. What part of that seems like it might be a stretch?
That they didn't mention the fact that he put the shards of plastic in her drink?
Nope.
Oh.
Ryan Seacrest's ex seriously injured after swallowing shards of plastic from beverage on American Airlines flight. And what part of that sounds fishy to you?
That American had beverage service? I don't know.
Well, Ryan Seacrest's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, that.
You notice how he plucks these random chicks from reality shows?
It's amazing.
It's a little fishy that all his quote-unquote girlfriends are from reality shows who might want to be famous.
You think it's a Liberace, Sonia Henne situation?
It's 1,000%, 1,000,000,000%, a Kelly Preston, John
the love
Travolta
of my
situation.
life, Sonia Henne.
Yep. I am going to go on a limb and say I'm almost positive that those are not real relationships. But what do I know? You know, he's older than me. They've never really gotten anywhere. And they seem to be an awful lot of reality show contestants.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people craving fame that maybe would make that. Once I found out about the chick from American Pie, that whole thing. Yeah, the other one was from Dancing with the Stars. Once I found out about the girl from American Pie having a fake relationship with a celebrity while she was dating a dude I knew, and that how that all worked out, I was like, oh boy, this is something else. It's all very fishy to me. Mike Reese loves it. He loves this stuff.
Yeah.
He's the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Patriots, and he joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Mike Reese, hello.
Good morning, Fred, Hardy, John. How we doing this morning?
Good, Mike.
Do you ever fly the American Airlines?
Yes. Yeah.
Watch out for beards. They can be they take up a lot of space.
Do you feel that Liberace's engagement to Sonia Henne in 1955 was legitimate, Mike Reese?
I don't even know where to go with that one, Hardy.
Well, it wasn't, Mike. So, I mean, you can go on.
It was a loaded question, and for that, I apologize.
That's a fact. I mean, I know you don't want to venture into those waters, but Liberace was a homosexual. He actually had a boyfriend. He got him plastic surgery so he'd look more like him.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Watch Behind the Candelabra before preseason game number 3 this weekend.
You ever
Plenty of time.
You ever see Behind the Candelabra?
No.
It's a good film.
Yeah. It's got a bunch of stars in it.
It does. Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon. All right, Mike. If you don't want
Thanks
to play
for the
along,
time.
thanks a lot. I mean, if you got nothing to say about this stuff, what do we have for you? All right, so Drake May, your opinion of him last Thursday, and also how has that carried into his performance during camp since then?
I thought he has had his best 3 days from the game Thursday and then even the last 2 days of practice. So it's starting to look better, Fred, on a more consistent basis. And I think he's closing the gap with Jacoby, who I would say hasn't looked as good the last 3 days. So I'm sort of curious to see where it leads. They have 4 practices this week and then the preseason game. You know, I do think there was a larger gap there. So I still think he has more ground to cover, but it at least makes this week, interesting from a sense of, does it keep heading in that direction, or does Jacoby sort of put his foot down and reestablish himself there?
Okay, so you talked to Mayo a couple of days ago, and you wrote about it over the weekend. He said that it's definitely a competition. He reiterated that. He said it wasn't over, but he said something like the entire offense needs to continue to play well. To me, that assumes facts, not in evidence, because if he's waiting for the entire offense to continue playing well. Well, I haven't seen the entire offense playing well, but is it really going to hinge more on that than just who's better at the position at the beginning or even midway through the season?
I feel like it will, Hardy, because I think the situation that let's just say they were seriously considering putting Drake May in there as the starter, which to me it seems a little early for that, but you never know what they're thinking, and a lot can change. Like Hardy, there was a play yesterday in practice where Jacoby Brissett looked like he hit his hand on the helmet of a teammate.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, oh my God, like that would change the picture in an instant, right? So, but I think you have to be cognizant of the situation that you would put Drake May in, right? And what does that offensive line look like? What do the skill positions look like? Right now, they're operating with their top 3 tight ends down. So I think it's sort of connected, right? It's not just Drake versus Jacoby. It's what else is around him.
Okay, let's talk about that. Elliot Wolf spoke to the media. What was the deal? First of all, what was the deal with them cutting it short?
So I didn't even know if it was short, Fred. I don't know if it didn't feel like it was cut short, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it was just short. Like,
Okay.
and
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the general manager has to talk to the press, I guess, once during the preseason. And he was a little Belichickian, wouldn't you say, with his responses?
I thought so. I think so. I always look at it first, Fred, like try to understand the person you're talking to. And of course, with Bill Belichick, that was like often a mystery. I think Elliot's like he's more of an introvert. That's the first thing I would say. So right off the bat, putting him in that situation, that's probably not like not the most comfortable situation for him. And I think that came across a little bit in his answers. So that's the first thing I would say. And then in terms of the insight, like what I took out of it is they're not looking at free agent offensive tackles, which that was interesting to me.
Okay, let me just have you expand on that. So that was what I was going to eventually get to is the Elliot Wolf talking about the offensive line.
Yeah.
And, you mentioned playing Drake May. And if the only reason they weren't playing Drake May was because of that the offensive line wasn't good enough to justify it or to, that would be a kind of a knock against the front office. You could make the argument. What was talk about the offensive line and not going after a free agent?
So, well, that part interests me. I mean, ultimately, Fred, to me, like when we go through these interviews, like I want to try to extract information that people following the team want to know. And I feel like the offensive line has been one of the biggest stories of training camp. So I thought it was interesting that he was that decisive to say, we're going to stick with what we have. And I don't, I think it's a fair question to ask. Could the front office have done more on the offensive line? I also think to be fair to them, like Fred, like that's a tough spot. Like they re-signed Awenu to a big money deal. Chuks Okorafor was a free agent. They're counting on. We'll see how that works. They drafted one in the 3rd round. They drafted one in the 4th round. Could they have done more? Sure. Like it's not like they did nothing, right? And so that's a tough one. And it's not like there's a lot of offensive linemen that are out there, right?
They weren't going to get the 35-year-old that the Jets signed. That wouldn't have made any sense. I guess because my whole theory was I like the way that the Patriots have been operating. I like that they're conceding that they're in a rebuild and that they're signing players that they think have a future with the team and they're going to try to build through the draft rather than free agency. But where are you with if it's the only, again, I'm going to go back to it. If it's the only reason they're not playing Drake May, like if they felt like, this kid's ready to play in the NFL. He should be our starter. But the reason we're not doing it is because we don't want to ruin him because our offensive line is so poor that we feel that it will screw up his development. Do you think that's a mistake by the front office in that sense?
So Fred, I actually don't think I think they'll play him. Because that's what I took from Elliot Wolf. I don't think he felt like the performance the other night was that bad offensive line wise. He mentioned they gave up 1 sack, and he also pointed out it was the Eagles' 2nd unit defense, which I think is important context. They're not even playing their best players. So yeah, and I look at it and I say that's their point of view. And then the one sack that Drake took, like to me, that's scary, right? And so I don't think it's been like it wasn't terrible Thursday night, whereas in the joint practice Tuesday, they actually couldn't run a play because of it, right? So let's see how they got one more week. Let's see what it looks like, and they'll have opportunity to add. I just don't know, like with the waiver wire, I just don't know how, like if there'll be an impactful player there for them, at the position.
Right.
How much optimism is there on the other side of the football? I mean, obviously the offense has struggled. They're not expected to score a ton of points this year, but the defense, now that Judon is gone, they have done pretty well for themselves over the first two exhibition games, if nothing else.
I think so, John. I mean, they had 10 sacks, 8 different players with sacks. Corner, I'd say corner after Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones would be a little bit of a thing to look at. Safety after Duggar and Peppers. So I think that like it's looked fine against, backups. I think the thing that I would look at from a critical standpoint, John, is like depth-wise, if they lose a guy, is the drop-off there a little more significant than it's been in the past? So I'm sort of keeping an eye on that, But relative, I'd say the performances look pretty good defensively.
More specifically, Gonzalez, who did not show well from all accounts in the joint practice against the Eagles. How do you think he looked last Thursday night?
Thought good. I thought there was one play that was important for him, John. It was just like a simple tackle, right? Like, so think about the way his season ended last year. It was on a tackle in that Cowboys game and, had the shoulder injury. So I think just getting the tackle in there was important for him just to sort of take that next step forward. And I thought he was in coverage on one slant on a third down that technique-wise, like he tried to, I'm not that I'm a football coach, but looked like maybe could have technique-wise got his hand around differently. But I think he's been fine. And I think if he's the biggest issue that we're talking about, then they're going to be just fine defensively.
All right, Mike. I mean, I look at the offense, we look at the defense. The special teams were an issue the last couple of years, and certainly part of the coaching carousel that's been going on there. Now you've got the wrinkle of the new kickoff rule in there. Anything to be concerned about? I think the kicker situation may have sorted itself out, but anything else going on there? Because for a team that may not be putting a ton of points on the board, as much as I hate to think about special teams, might have to pay extra attention to the special teams.
Hardy, I think that the kicker thing is interesting. This Joey Sly, if we get the numbers right, I think he's 7 of 7 on 50 yards or more.
Yeah, I think that one is sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like I'd be surprised if it's not him at this point. I guess we got to leave open the possibility that there's, this week in the game. Let's see if it turns. And I think return-wise, they've done some good stuff. But I just wonder if these other teams aren't showing what they're going to do in the regular season. So I'm like hesitant to put too much stock in it, but I'd say that side has looked pretty good for them too.
One other thing, going back to the offense, obviously there's a lot of inexperience at the wide receiver position, so tight end would be key for this team, but there's a lot of injuries there right now.
Oh man, John. That in addition to the offensive line, I just sort of look at the skill position players and the questions I ask are who's getting open right away to make life easy for the quarterback. And other than Pop Douglas, like I just don't see that consistently. So that would be one question I'd have. And tight end wise, Hunter Henry still sidelined. Austin Hooper would be the next guy. He went out yesterday or 2 days ago. Mitchell Wilcox, the next guy, is out. So they're down to their 4th and 5th tight ends. Jaheim Bell, their 7th round pick out of Florida State, had 3 touchdowns in practice yesterday. Maybe this is a chance to see more of him and what he might be able to add to the offense. But banged up there for sure, John.
All right. Well, Mike Reese, he's on ESPN. He's a big star, and he's never seen behind the candelabra, which is.
I feel like I let you down there, Fred. Sorry.
Hey, listen, buddy. Life is long. You got time. You got a full 7 days until you're back on the show.
And I don't feel like you've lived until you've seen behind the candelabra.
Okay.
It's going to teach you things about life.
Full review coming up next week.
I like it. I like it. I'm putting it on my list.
All right. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Have a great show.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate it. Well, we will. Trust me, we will. That is
count on that.
A big thing. All right, so this Hawk-Tua girl. So the Hawk-Tua girl.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the Hawk-Tua girl. And my daughter said to me, and I'm pleased that she's asking these kind of questions. She said, "What does that mean?" No. She goes, "Why? Like, what's the deal with the Hawk-Tua girl?" And I said, "She's a good interview because she is. Like from the clips that I see, like she destroyed Bill Maher. Bill Maher looks like such an idiot. You just got to go watch clips of her on Bill Maher's dumb podcast where he insists on he calls it grass and he." Jazz cigarettes and he insists on smoking weed. It just is. He's 68 years old. He looks like a fool. But the Hawk-Tua girl's like a good interview, right?
Yeah.
So someone's very upset about the Hawk-Tua girl, and it's someone that you would never expect to be upset about something like that. We will play said person's thoughts in just a moment.
Sports Hub headline. The Sports Hub.
You know what, George? If you could find Hawk to a girl talking to Bill Maher, you don't have to. I don't need it right now. Just by the end of the show, about how the Hawk Tua thing is based in pornography, and he's being very condescending, and she comes right back at him, and it's fantastic. The Hawk Tua girl has got everyone all excited. By the way, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. She's doing as she should. She's doing the rounds with all the podcasts. She's like a good guest. Why don't you have her on, Fred? Well, because she's already done everything. I mean, she's done radio. She's done a bunch of stuff. I don't really have anything I want to ask her, but I would do the same thing if I was her. And seems charming and everything else. I like to talk to a girl. You would think that I would be annoyed by her, but I'm not, especially after the Bill Maher thing. That I enjoyed. But she got to throw out the first pitch at a Mets game, which not everyone gets to do. I mean, they had Baba Booey do it. So, it's very, very difficult to get in there and throw the first pitch at a Mets game. Well, they had the Hawk Tua girl.
Haley Welch, if you don't mind, Fred. The woman has a name.
Yes, of course. Everyone knows Haley Welch. She's doing a lot to make you forget. I bet you anything she gets a job. If it was old school, she would get a job with a radio show.
Yeah.
There's no question. She's good. She's funny. But she threw out the first pitch at a Mets game, and our friend Mike Francesa.
Oh, great.
He's still doing a podcast, apparently.
How much did you charge for it?
I can't imagine this.
$9.99 a month.
I can't imagine this is much more than a hobby for the man. But
Okay.
he's doing a podcast. I don't know any. I would love to meet. If you subscribe to his podcast, please call in.
Remember, he used to have an app that he was.
Yes.
Yeah, $5.99.
That's going to be the future.
That's the only reason I'm quitting, so I could do this.
I got some Poindexter doing it.
Yeah,
I never
and
lost to Michael K.
And if you want to go back to, you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. I mean, if you do that, it'll be a long time before you get to the episode that posted on Saturday, which is the top 5 Yankees players of all time.
He loves the Mick. He loves Mickey Mantle. This is what you need. I mean,
Derek Jeter, not top 5.
Babe Ruth, of course. You got to stop.
You've been missing this kind of talk.
It's not Jeter.
Told you the first time I ever heard Mike and the Mad Dog. The only time I think I ever heard it, I was on a beach and I found, like, for some reason WFAN came on my radio, and they were talking about boxing, and then Mad Dog goes, hold on a second, and he got out an almanac of sports. And I thought that I had lost the signal, but it was just him searching, and it was like, Sugarface McGillicuddy was the guy, and you're like, okay,
Jack Dempsey, Mike. Jack Dempsey.
He was 1910. He was the big guy, and you're like, oh my God. All right,
Hold on, the way fine. Gentleman Jim Corbett. That's what I was thinking of.
Like, all these dorks are like, this was the greatest show. It was just a bunch of dorks. I like Mad Dog now. But I can't imagine being 25 and listening to Francesa look up names in a sports almanac. But he doesn't like the Hawk Tua girl. Here's what he had to say.
What in the world would possess the Mets to bring her in to throw out the first ball?
Now I take it back. I understand how people are subscribing to this. This I miss. That real slow delivery.
What in the world would possess the Mets to bring her in to throw out the first ball? And on top of it, on camp day.
White day?
What?
So he's...
Oh, it's camp day.
He's...
Oh, Judy Garland, Liza.
I don't think so.
John Waters should be throwing out the first pitch.
Johnny Waters.
No.
R.I.P. Divine. It's camp day.
So
let's watch bad movies and eat.
So, summer camps are a big thing in all parts of the country, but especially in New York, and where kids go away to camp for the summer. And there is a specific camp day for the Mets where the campers come in and they give the camp kids a bunch of tickets.
Well, first of all, how would kids know anything about a viral sensation?
Well, he'll get to that.
And then,
Good.
okay, so I'll save it.
Good,
Because
good. Yeah.
And on top of it, on camp day. Wait, so everybody is trying to explain to every 10 and 12 and 13-year-old in the stands? And you've ever been to camp day? The Mets have a couple of them in the summer. And the game went so long that basically they either had to pitch tents or they had to leave in the fifth inning.
It's a lot of fun. Imagine explaining to, first of all, the idea that you would have to explain this to a 13-year-old is hysterical.
Exactly.
But imagine going, I don't know, when they asked you, or saying what it is.
Especially if you're a camp counselor. That's got to be half the fun, having inappropriate conversations.
No, but if your kid came up to you and they said, like, what is this? And then you just, so if you told them what it was, then they know. They're going to find out one way or another. It's one thing, like, watching consistent stream of porn and just knowing that something exists, like an act exists.
You know what I've always wondered about? The camp counselors in the movie Meatballs refer to themselves, both in name and in song, as CITs, counselors in training. Aren't they just counselors? I mean, who is a camp counselor as opposed to all those people who are counselors in training?
I think Spaz and Fink were counselors in training. They were the second in command.
We are the CITs, so pity us. The kids are brats. The food is hideous. We're going to smoke and drink and fool around. We're nookie bound. We're the North Star CITs.
Yes.
And they're all singing it around the campfire.
Right.
I'm a CCIT. Christ counselor in training.
Oh, okay.
Because they have to be out of there. Both teams will walk in the ballpark and, playing awful baseball. But you have heard me say on numerous occasions that the Mets can screw up a one-car funeral.
A one-car funeral?
Mm-hmm. That's what my dad used to say. That guy could screw up a cup of coffee.
What would ever possess somebody, and I would think that person spent last night not answering the phone and today running for cover or cleaning out their desk. I've always stated this, that the worst things I hated was when...
He's got a lot of saliva in his mouth.
He also has a lot of things he's stated before, and you've heard me say this. You've
Of
been
course.
You've been following the show.
Very
Excuse me
positive.
while I spit out 10 gallons of spit that's been clogging my tongue.
Do you think the person who booked the Hawk to a girl to throw out the first pitch was cleaning out their desk the next day or is avoiding the phones?
Just knowing how the world is now, no. Probably just got to keep their job. Like they didn't just make a colossal error.
I've always stated this, that the worst things I hated was when something was so obvious to go after that it was like, a hanging piata, that you just basically, you took a bat and you hit it.
Hanging pee. It's a whole act. It'd take too long to describe.
I listened to that 9 times. Is he saying piata instead of pinata?
Yes. Yes, he is. That's exactly what he's doing.
It's like a hanging piazza.
N is very hard when your mouth is just producing way too much saliva.
Or he thinks it's pronounced piata.
Piata.
That it...
I don't know that many of the Spanish.
Is that a problem?
I was in Spanish Harlem once.
Yes, the Mexico, no, I don't like the hats.
Oh.
The music is too loud.
That it was like, a hanging piata, that you just basically, you took a bat and you hit it. It's no fun. And can you imagine when the owner is explaining to his wife exactly who this girl is who's thrown at the first pitch?
Yeah, I mean, his wife, who has been indentured servant and not access to anything, he'd have to. Can you imagine? Every time that broad you're married to has, with the questions, what is Haktua? You don't want to know. It's not something you have to worry about. Just don't. What's oral sex? Hey, honey, no. Just listen, go back to your knitting and don't worry about this. Explain it to your wife. What's going on? Don't worry. Haktua, what's it mean? I don't want to disturb you.
Unless it was her idea, which I'm not saying it was, but who knows? I mean, I don't know where it came from.
I imagine that he's so repulsed by the idea of an adult woman giving oral sex. It's too much for him. It's too much for Bill Maher, too. He doesn't like the act of her spitting. He doesn't like it.
Mm.
He says he would not like it. I would think it was fun. I would go, whoa, look at you. This is crazy.
You need to do a podcast. You do it right here on Club Random. If you do it my way, sex expert. And I'll tell you why. Wait. I'll tell you why. Because you need to, I told you were given this chip. You were given the chip of fame. Now you want to trade that in for something that uses that, but takes it to the next level. You have to trade on what you're already known for. That's the one thing you're known for. So you could do a podcast for, I don't know if there's anything from somebody that age with that point of view, but it couldn't be frivolous. You have to take it seriously. Could you do that?
Possibly.
And talk about sex, but seriously, serious issues, because there are a lot of really serious issues.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the best thing to pull. But nonetheless, yeah, it goes like that. Bill Maher gets high and drunk on purpose, and then talks down to the girl.
Meanders around.
And she calls him Pop one time. And he goes, what's that? He goes, would you ever date? She goes, would you date an 80-year-old? And he goes, honey, you don't know me at all. And she goes, I call you Papa. And he goes, what's Papa? Another word for dad, what you Southerners call dad? And she goes, no, Grandpa. Like Bill's sitting there, he's got a big jazz sticker in his hand. He's like, yeah, I'm cool. Ugh. Talking down to the Haktua girl.
Haley Welch.
All right. The Juggalo convention was over the weekend. We have a fun game to play.
We do indeed. The gathering of the Juggalos took place. Insane Clown Posse and their fans. And a list of artists you won't believe, Fred.
All right. Very good. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Touch. Patriots.
Into the end zone.
Touchdown
for the Patriots.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox were beaten in Baltimore yesterday.
Ricky ball swinging a drive out to right field. Way back there, and it is out of here.
Well, boy, nobody hits a breaking ball in the entire league better than Gunnar Henderson.
That is Nesson, and Gunnar Henderson's two-run homer in the sixth inning turned out to be the game-winning hit for the Orioles in a 4-2 victory. As a result, the Sox had to settle for a split of this four-game series, and Kansas City won their fourth straight game yesterday, 8-1 in Cincinnati, so now the Sox are 3.5 games out of a playoff spot. They open up a 3-game series in Houston tonight. They've also promoted another top prospect, infielder Christian Campbell, to AAA Worcester. The Patriots have one exhibition game left. They were missing a lot of people at practice yesterday in Foxborough. The team's top two tight ends, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, were both absent, along with Josh Uche and wide receiver Jaquay Jackson. He suffered a bad-looking leg injury Thursday night against Philadelphia. In other NFL news, former Patriots defensive back Stephon Gilmore signed a one-year contract with Minnesota, and former NFL and BC offensive lineman Gosder Sherilis arrested over the weekend. He caused a disturbance on a flight from Boston to Dublin. He allegedly urinated on another passenger, causing the flight to reroute back to Logan Airport. He'll be arraigned this morning. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Roto-Rooter. Schedule a free water quality test to identify unhealthy hazards in your tap water, and Roto-Rooter will show you how to improve it. Call 1-800-GET-ROTO or go to rotorooter.com to schedule today. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the
The Sports Hub on
Magnets. How do they work?
I know, I've heard it a million times, but I haven't listened to the whole song, and that's probably the most I've listened to. I've heard like fire, water, air, and dirt, which is pretty funny. Magnets, how do... I'm a scientist, you're making me pissed.
Yeah,
I've heard that before, but it just, there's other parts of it too that are just really dumb. But listen.
Magic everywhere in this bitch.
Yeah, it is true. The Juggalos they all work at carnivals and everything else, and you can make fun of them, but listen, in all seriousness, good for them. They all get together, they have fun. But Jim Norton, by the way, has played one of these things before. They have a comedy stage.
Oh, indeed they do.
Yes, indeed. So, Hardy, you have taken... you've gone knee deep, as they say, treading into the waters of the Juggalo. What was happening over the weekend?
The Gathering of the Juggalos, which is an annual event where Juggalos, as the Insane Clown Posse fans call themselves, get together for 3-4 days of music and mayhem. multiple stages, multiple acts. There's just so much going down at this thing. So I thought we would go through and just do a little game here. You can just guess some very basics about the festival, and then I'll ask some more specific questions, see if you can have an idea of what actually went down at this thing.
Okay, so this is a game where you're going to be asking us what?
For instance, the Gathering of the Juggalos. This will show how much you know about their the origin of Insane Clown Posse. Took place where? Was it in Thornville, Ohio, Milford, Michigan, or Michigan City, Indiana?
I know where it's held. I've covered this ground. John never listens, so he probably doesn't know. Go ahead and guess.
What was the first one?
Thornville, Ohio, Milford, Michigan, or Michigan City, Indiana?
Michigan City, Indiana.
Fred?
That is incorrect. It is in Ohio.
No Fago for you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. They love Fago. And Jay Stu is here.
Yes, hello, Jay Stu.
Hello, Jay Stu.
Are you a believer in miracles?
Music is all magic.
All right, very good. You're not going to get much past me with this contest. I got to.
Oh.
So it'd be good. John's a non-juggalo.
Yeah.
He's turned his back on that just like he did on his religion.
Well, I was never in to begin with, so.
Man, well, same thing could be said for Judaism. You weren't never you never had your bar mitzvah.
Fred, your answer was?
Or was the Thornville, Ohio?
Woo woo.
Woo woo. They stole that from Ric Flair.
It's that whoa whoa. All right. The stages at the Gathering of the Juggalos, multiple stages, much like Lollapalooza, consisted of 3 different stages. I'm going to give you 2 correct ones, 1 incorrect one. You have to guess the incorrect stage. There was the macabre stage.
Yeah.
The Ship of Fools stage.
Boo. That's like the Red Sox. It's a big ship of fools.
And the Great Malenko stage. Only 2 of those are correct. Which is the fake stage?
Go ahead, John.
Ship of Fools.
Nope. It's the first one you said.
For you, ICP stands for Idiot Can't Perform.
That's right, Wallach. No, actually, Fred, you're wrong.
Oh! The last Joker card has been revealed. It's you.
The Great Malenko was, of course, an ICP album, not a stage.
Oh, you got very cute there. I understand.
It was the Macabre stage, the Omen stage, and the Ship of Fools stage. The Ship of Fools was an actual pirate ship that the bands would perform on, including ICP on multiple nights.
Ah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the comedians that have performed in the past. Jim Norton had been there.
Tom Green's been there.
That's right. So, another Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, or Big J. Okerson. Which of the 3 performed at this year's Gathering of the Juggalos?
Okay, I know what I'm going to guess. Go ahead.
Kreischer.
No, Big J. Okerson.
No Fago for you.
Fred, you are absolutely correct.
Yeah, he wears sleeveless gloves.
You are down with the clowns.
Yes, indeed. He wears sleeveless gloves. I know. So, Big J. Okerson.
Okay.
Do you notice and recognize miracles?
It's just there in the air.
I'll tell you what was a miracle. The $10,000 slam match. It was a miracle when Big John Studd was lifted in the air and thrown to the mat. Splash.
There were many competitions that took place.
Oh, yeah. Was there one where you had to climb a ladder? Good luck, sucker. You're falling off that thing. Good luck getting the briefcase. It's full of money.
There were several wrestling adjacent activities.
Yeah, not sanctioned. Don't count. House matches.
We're going to stick with the Miss Juggalette pageant.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
First prize for the Miss Juggalette pageant was a Gathering of the Juggalos gold plaque, a backstage pass, a rare Gathering of the Juggalos amulet, and how much money in cash? Closest without going over.
$500.
$1,000.
Oh, boys.
No Fago for you.
$300 in cash for the Miss Juggalette pageant.
That's such a random number, too.
And how many times? Listen.
It's like somebody. How much money do you have on you?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
well, I have 300.
I mean, that's just one day of royalties for the Miracle song. I know I've been in radio, like being in radio back in the day. You could get girls to take their girls would just voluntarily take their tops off without asking if you had like a Ron John T-shirt to give away. So I don't doubt it. But you know what the Miss Juggalo probably had to do? Not had to do, but decided to do on stage in order to get those $300. Now that amulet is priceless. That can be turned around and sold. For
Well,
a
it's
lot of
rare.
money. It's very rare.
Yes.
It's very rare. It's the rarest of the Joker cards. All right, Hardy, here we go. We're getting in here. We're well into the mind of a carny.
I like the contest prizes, so let's stick with that. And at the gathering of the Juggalos, there was the Queen of Cheeks contest. Come one, come all. Welcome to the best show on earth. This is the Queen of Cheeks. Ms. Mars and Lady Rome have packed the stage with the most beautiful juggalettes in the world who are here to impress you while attempting to take home the coveted title, the Queen of Cheeks. This is essentially a big-ass contest.
Yay!
Yes.
This year's queen will receive a beautiful crown, scepter, and a gift bag fit for royalty. How much in cash?
Well, now
the bar has been lowered.
I mean, it's not gonna be a funny guess if I do the guess, but go ahead, John.
Well, it's got to be more because everyone knows the Queen of Cheeks is more valuable.
Only John would go there. It's gonna be way less, you moron. You love asses so much. John is so mesmerized by asses that it's got to be more money. He says.
Crown, scepter, gift bag.
I like how they can't name what's in the gift bag. Just don't worry about it. It's got stuff.
$250.
No, it's going to be $50.
No Fago for you.
$0 in cash.
All right, so $0.
Are you a believer in miracles?
Pure mother magic.
Pure magic.
You know, John wasn't kidding. That he honestly thought that because the big ass thing would be worth more because he loves asses so much. It's where the poo comes. John loves it.
Thanks, Frank.
It was a fantasy of being smothered. And that's not a lie. Go ahead.
Of the vendors that were present at the gathering of the Juggalos, one of these was not there. Blunt Man's One-Stop Shop, Braids by Sunshine, Clownvis Merch Booth, and Makeup by Mark.
I'm going to say the weed one was not true.
Makeup by Mark.
John Wallach finally coming through.
You are down with the clowns.
Nice.
The Blunt Man's One-Stop Shop, the Braids by Sunshine, and the Clownvis merch booth were all things.
All right, and one more, and then we can move on.
That was the last one.
All right, very good. He can't do any more. All right, very good. Everyone.
You a believer in miracles? Music is all magic. You can't even hold it.
Do you notice and recognize miracles?
It's just there in the air.
Are you a believer in miracles?
Pure mother magic.
Pure magic.
It is true, Jay Stu. It is magical. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, when dealing with the issue of erectile dysfunction. Hard Toucher and Hardy, and I've been keeping an eye on you people all show. It pays to listen to the entire show because you would have missed this. You would have missed that I, over the weekend, am becoming very concerned about how much I'm peeing. And I looked up how often you're supposed to pee in a day, and Wallach guessed 5 and Hardy guessed 4. 4 times a day he said that people pee. Over the course of 24 hours, you understand? Just because you're asleep don't mean time's not moving.
I said 5. Wallach said 8.
No one said 8. You both had under 8.
You said 4, I said 5, and then we went back to it at the end, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what, Fred?
Yeah, after I told you the
right.
answer.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm not probably right. I just told you what I read.
All right, now.
Yeah, you said 4, Hardy.
Before you start screaming at me again, which I don't appreciate. You didn't ask us how many times a man is supposed to pee. You asked us how many times we peed.
No. You're wrong. I said how many? I said
the tape.
Okay, George, check the tape. This should be easy. It's the very beginning of the show. I asked them how many times do you pee, and I said I looked up how many times you're supposed to pee in a day. That's what I asked, and I said how many times do you think you're supposed to pee in a day? That's what I asked, George. You find that. That's specific, George. Don't play nothing if you can't find that.
Yeah. Don't go playing something else,
Don't
George.
go playing something. Don't go throw the curveball, George. Isaac!
He's listening.
Yeah. Isaac, give me a thumbs up. All right.
There you go.
You see me as you want to see me.
No, that's not Isaac.
No.
It's the other one.
I thought it was Isaac saying, see me or say my name.
No, that's just leave Isaac alone. So I let Isaac be. This is his last week here. It's very sad for me. It's emotional.
I understand.
One of my mentees is going out into the world. So when George finds that, I'll throw it in your face later. But here's the deal. George, if he doesn't say it, don't find it.
Hi, I'm Isaac.
Thank you, Isaac. All right, so it's 8 times a day is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So Hardy said he goes to the bathroom 4 times. Wallach said 5. Wallach is full of crap, and he immediately backpedaled, just like he did every time a rabbi comes up to him and says, "Why'd you turn your back on your religion?" You start saying, "Well, I went to Camp Young Judea." You start throwing up. You start backpedaling. But I've been watching, and first of all, Nicholas is consistently in the bathroom. He's out of that studio. He can't stay in there. He's like a caged mouse. You open up that door, he's out.
But you'll notice it's none of the bathrooms that are on this floor.
No. Nicholas,
of which there are numerous.
Yeah. There are numerous ones on this floor. Nicholas is always walking around, and believe me, he don't get nowhere fast.
Nope.
Nicholas got them little legs.
Doesn't take the elevator either.
And is it only to urinate? It's like if you want some privacy for doing the other, I understand that.
Well,
but for urinating, what's the deal, Nicholas? Do you drop the pants all the way to the ankles? Do you take the shirt off when you're standing in front of the urinal? What is it?
It has something to do with it since you were covered in mess, covered in your own feces, and your now wife walked in and found you that way. Is that why you don't like being around other people when you pee, Nicholas?
He flings it. That's why.
Nicholas, is there a problem with the stream? Did that happen when you stroked out?
Nicholas, do you go to a different floor to urinate?
He might
that's the only answer I want. Do you go to a different floor when you're only urinating?
I don't know. He's grabbing stuff from his bag. Nicholas is having a very difficult time hearing.
He's just putting headphones into it.
Yeah. He don't do that fast either.
2.5 hours into the show, he decided to listen. You should have been listening. It's a good show.
Yeah,
Nicholas. Do you go to another floor to urinate? He says no.
All right. Well, then
he poops a lot.
Then he makes a lot of bowel movements. But then I was saying that, okay, so it's 8. 8 is what the internet says. And on several sources I checked 4 or 5 sources. They all said 8 times.
You should be urinating 8 times a day.
Is what men say. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, and then Hardy said 4 and John said 5.
That's how many times I go.
Which made me nervous because it's like 15, 15 times a day I go to the bathroom. I have to urinate.
Because, Fred, I said at one point, you think about it, if you're here almost every hour during the show, that's 4.
No,
You do it when you get up, that's 5.
Yeah, I don't do it every hour,
okay.
but let's say I do it once or twice during the show, and then once at the end, then it's already 3.
Once when you get up.
Once I get up, so it's 4. So I'm leaving here with 4 in my pocket.
How many times have you gone so far since you got here today?
None, because I'm too self-conscious about it in my own brain. I'm self-conscious about myself.
Too busy watching everybody else.
Yeah, I'm like a hawk. George has already been out of the room, believe me, for a long time.
So is Isaac.
I think Isaac was just going out because there were girls waiting for him. And he was like, girls,
Say
go
my
home.
name.
He's like, go home. I don't need you. But so I started, and then I looked up what could be going on, and everything that I read was like there had to be another symptom with the frequent urination, like a problem with the flow or a problem with, like blood or something like that. And I don't have any of that stuff. It's always like significant good urinations. The only thing is diabetes is what they say, because they say with diabetes you have a constant state of thirst and you're always drinking, and that might be the case. All right, you don't have to do that. Now, do you guys keep water next to the bed?
Diabetes!
Do you guys keep water next to the bed?
No. Diabetes!
You guys don't keep water next to the bed.
No.
When you wake up at night, are you thirsty?
No.
I do, Fred.
I do too.
Wow.
Yeah, me and you, Dan, are on the same page with this. So you don't wake up
You're
thirsty.
like my kids who got to fill up their tankards of water before they go up to bed at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, my daughter
No.
has the Stanley Cup that she
Yeah.
fills
Fill
up.
that thing up. Stop it. Go to bed. Go to bed.
Well, the girl's 18 years old. You don't have to tell her to go to bed.
She's only 17, and
No, I would
yes,
take
she
it
still
back.
needs to be told to go to bed, because otherwise she'll just stay up doing nothing.
All right, so you guys don't even need water next to your bed.
No.
And you don't wake up thirsty at
No.
night.
No.
I have diabetes.
Diabetes!
Thank you, Dr.
Did you find it, George?
All right.
All
right. Well,
can we hear?
Save it for a second. Let George triple check that he's got it right. All right, Phil, go ahead.
Hey, when you wake up, though, you gotta go when you wake up, right?
Yeah, you guys, you have to go when you wake up,
Yeah.
correct?
First thing.
Everybody goes.
And
Yeah.
then before a nap, you go, right, Hardy?
Yeah, I'll oftentimes not go at all during the show, or not even before I leave work.
No,
Sometimes
but I'm doing this. We're going. So you go. You say you go when you get up.
Yeah.
You go after the show.
Yes.
Okay. You go before your nap.
Sure.
You go during your nap. All right. No,
I go
but you get up and you go during your nap.
No.
You don't have to wake up because you have to pee?
No.
Okay. And do you ever have to wake up during the course of the evening and pee?
You mean like during the night?
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Oh, really? Phil, does this seem ridiculous 4 times a day?
Yeah, it's like he's like a Campbell.
Yeah, maybe something's wrong with you, not urinating enough.
So once in the morning, once after the show, once before that, that's 3. One more in the evening, one more before bed. I'd say 5.
Phil, how many times a day do you pee?
Probably 8 to 10, because I do drink a lot of water with a little pinch of the Celtic sea salt in it. So, and then I go to when I go to bed at night, the water cup next to the bed. If I'm drinking it before I go to bed, I'm getting up at 3 a.m. like clockwork.
Yeah, so
one before you wake up.
I'm over at 10. When I was drinking a lot, I didn't pee a lot because I was dehydrated. But since then, I got diabetes. There's no question about it.
All right. So did you ask us how many times a man should pee, or how many times we pee?
I asked both.
Well, now you've changed it.
No. I asked you both. I asked you first how many times. I go, how many times do you pee? And then I go, guess how many times you're supposed to pee. I did it in one way or the other. Go ahead. Would anyone care to venture guess into how much you're supposed to urinate in a day?
I would say they think you should be going 5 times a day.
All right, stop it. You even repeated me, dumbass. Do you see what he did? Do you see how? And then it makes you think how many times the show or after the show, Hardy's calling me out. He's out there. He's so pent up wanting to play the audio from Matsuzaka winning the BMW championship. He can't get it out of his head.
Okay, so for once, I was wrong.
No Fago for you.
No, that's how those just make me pee more.
Jay Stu, please.
One time I was wrong.
Yeah, there was a man named the Golden Boy. He wrestled out of North Carolina. In that, he was the Golden Boy. You know what his finishing move was? Just peeing.
Wow.
Yeah. He would pee himself. He'd pee his trunks.
So everyone backed away, and it was an easy pin.
Yeah.
I'll say 4 times a day.
Well, that was a stupid guess, Wallach.
Yeah, John says
Way
4
off.
times a day.
I was way off.
John is 70 years old, and he says that he pees 4 times a day. By the way, if you didn't hear the story, I guess someone who's been in studio, Dan says twice. I would never know it. He said a Lions draft pick, and I have no idea. Godsard Cherelius.
Gosder Sherilis.
Sherilis.
Yes.
He's an NFL player and former NFL player and Boston College alum. He lives in Wakefield.
Mm-hmm.
That's Adam 12 country up there.
Yeah. Well, it gets weird up there when you don't want to pay to go out. You're in everyone's basement. Water sports are, I've heard, something that happens. Is that true? In Wakefield, is it a big water sport place? Like, we know Haverhill is a big swingers destination, right?
Hingham.
Hingham is the big swingers
Opposite,
destination. Swingham is what I'm being told it's called. The incident happened on a Sunday morning around 2 a.m. So this is a real red-eye situation, but in reverse. Delta Airlines diverted the plane and it returned to the gate in Logan. So were they in the air?
That's what it sounds like.
It doesn't sound like that to me. It says that they returned it to the gate. So it's like the gate, right? So it sounds to me like it would just say return to Logan Airport. Like, it sounds to me like they were taxiing and then they came back. And so he urinated on a passenger, they said.
All right. I have a quote here. Delta flight from Boston to London and returned to Boston Logan.
But it says the gate.
Yeah.
It says return to Boston Logan. That means to me it was in the air.
Yeah, but I just read you what this says. It says that it returned to
Yeah,
the gate.
it's ambiguous because the plane has officially departed like once it leaves the gate. That's how they keep their on-time status.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So you can sit there, on the taxiway and on the runway for a while, but
that's why it
departed.
says the flight to Atlanta is 3 hours, and you're like, no, it's not, and that includes ground time. Yeah, so they can say they were early.
I'm hoping just for the sake of the other passengers that they weren't in the air and had to turn around and fly.
Because I got news for you: if you pee on me on an airplane and we're halfway over the Atlantic Ocean, I just assume we keep the plane in the air and handle this business in Ireland. If you pee on me and then everyone knows you peed on me and they can somehow cuff you and make sure that the authorities are alerted when we land, I would much prefer that than turning around. So now I'm covered in pee. Plus, I didn't even get to where I wanted to go. Plus, you would think it was a hero's welcome once you got to Dublin. You figured Delta would really roll out the red carpet
like
for you.
Lucky Lindy landed in Paris.
Exactly.
They'd be lining the runways.
They'd be like, a big deal, the guy who, Stuzy or whatever, that landed the plane in the damn Hudson River. This is a real champion of aviation.
Oh, yeah. What was that dude's name?
Sully.
Yeah, Sully.
Yeah.
Sully, big deal. This guy got peed on and he stayed on the flight for the rest of the time. You got to figure they have smocks or something that you could put on. You'd be a real star. I bet you free drinks.
We can't get into it because that's the one thing that we will get in trouble for is the, explicit descriptions. But how does that take place? Like, why did it take place? Did he want to get up and use the bathroom and they wouldn't let him because, you can't get up, while the plane is taxiing and stuff?
Dan said it in my ear, but it is true. It's the same thing that happened to the guy from REM. Is what happens is people drink before they get on the flight and then they take Ambien. And I can tell you from experience, anything can happen. You can get loose in the neighborhood if you take an Ambien while drinking. I told you.
Bets are off.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. Do not take Ambien on planes. Have your doctor, if you don't like flying or you want to sleep, prescribe you a benzo because they won't make you act up. They'll just calm you down. But I told you, the time that I took Ambien, my mother-in-law was in town, and I can't stand her. So my former mother-in-law, I can't stand her. I hate her. And so she was at the house, bothering me.
That sounds like a resentment.
Yeah, I'll live with it. So I said to myself, I'm going to take Ambien. It's at 6 o'clock at night. I'll just go to sleep at 7, and then it will be tomorrow, one day closer to her leaving. And so I took Ambien, and then apparently I did not go to sleep. I was loose in the neighborhood. I got
no recollection, no memory.
I didn't get far, but I was like wandering around in the front yard and stuff. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't recognize it. I'm sure if you could even do a break that everyone who's taken Ambien that they've ended up in some kind of. I think they switched the formula up a little bit, but it's not. I don't think it's as potent as it used to be, or maybe my body's just adjusted to it. But I know a guy who woke up with like his arm in a pool. He had a pool in the back of his house, and he walked out and put his arm in a pool. There's stories of people who've made dinner.
Getting up and eating in the middle of the night.
And the worst off, there's people that drive. They get in the car and they go somewhere. Joe, go ahead.
They actually were an hour into the flight and had to turn around. I had a friend on the flight. And
sucks. Okay, Joe, this is all alleged, but so you had a friend on the flight. They're flying to Dublin. It's late at night. What did your friend tell you?
That there was someone drunk on the plane and that they had to turn around and they had to be escorted off the plane.
Okay, so they didn't know about the peeing thing?
No.
Okay. Was he disappointed he didn't know about the peeing thing?
Very disappointed.
Yeah, because it would have been a much better story.
Would have been.
Exactly. All right, so how pissed was your friend?
Very upset because they were there until about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning waiting for a flight to get out, and then they got put up in a hotel.
Oh, really? So they didn't even get out that night?
No, the next day I was at the end of the story.
Oh, okay. So, wow. Oh, Joe. Well, did your friend leave the next day? Is he in Dublin now?
I haven't talked to them yet. They were supposed to arrive at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And who knows if they actually got there.
All right. Who knows if someone took a dump on the plane? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, because
There's so many things you could do.
Flights to Ireland, it's not like JetBlue going to Tampa. I imagine if they were able to rebook him, it was probably on a red eye the next day.
Yeah, I mean, because once all that happens, and then they probably had to clean the plane and everything else, and then the crew's been active for too long and they can't do the flight. Yeah, that's a major inconvenience. I would love to know what exactly happened. They leave it so vague, Did he pee his pants? So he was drunk. I guarantee he drank because he didn't like flying, and he took Ambien to knock himself out on the flight. And then once you do that, you're toast. Go ahead, Dan.
The quote from the state police says the plane was diverted, quote, because of an unruly passenger who urinated on another passenger on board, end quote.
Yeah, because the guy from the guitar player from REM got up in first class and urinated on the beverage cart. And he's supposed to be like a good, calm guy. He's a nice guy. If you drink and take Ambien, like, you're not in control, like, of your actions anymore. Like, I think you're not going to go kill someone or something, but you could think that I just want to pee now. Remember when you said, Hardy, that you were hypnotized?
Yeah.
And it was just easier? The reason you were going along with it, like, you knew what you were being asked to do, but you were going along with it because you were so serene and tired that...
It was the promise of being able to go back to sleep. That's how he...
Exactly. So... That's exactly, I think, what it is like if you drink and took Ambien, is that, sure, your brain in some way is functioning, but wouldn't it be just easier if I just did it here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get up and walk all the way over there, and all the parts of your brain that you have to sift through before you actually take an action.
Wallach, you ever take Ambien?
Never.
Yeah. What kind of pills you on right now? All kinds of, like a real cocktail?
Sure.
You take anything for the depression?
No, I have not. I have not taken anything.
You've never had? You just had electroshock therapy?
You should have taken something today for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you take the electroshock therapy?
No, I have not.
That's a big thing again. Our friend Gary Goldman had it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How is Gary Goldman?
You never saw The Great Depression?
Yeah.
No, I read his book. His book's really good.
He doesn't talk about it. Oh, it's about his youth. That's right.
Yeah,
it's about his youth.
We haven't spoken to Gary in a while.
He's out there in New York City. He's doing very well. Everyone loves Gary Goldman.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Gary Goldman. All right. You take anything, Artie?
No.
I'm taking enough for both of you. I got a twice a day.
I'll try anything.
I got a twice a day situation. I got something I take in the morning, but then I have to counter it with something. So that's like a speedball.
Are you counting the magnesium?
Oh, that's right.
No,
Magnesium.
that's recreational. Hardy walks into me in the bathroom. I'm on top of the toilet grinding up magnesium.
Just to level you,
Just
get
to
you
level
leveled
out.
out.
Just I was so.
I got to
intense.
take the edge off.
After Wallach made me so mad the other day, I had to take some magnesium. No, but I take something in the morning that I have to counter with something else. So that's like a speedball. And then there's two things that I'm supposed to take twice a day. That's they'll give me. I mean, none of it makes you feel good. Like it's all just.
Yes, a cocktail of cuckoo pills.
Exactly. I couldn't tell you what they do. It's nothing fun. It's
Yeah.
just like it's nothing that you take and you go hot dog. Like here we go. But it's one thing that's supposed to raise serotonin. But when you take that, your dopamine can go down. So you've got to take something to raise your dopamine.
Why you not take either one and you just be fine?
Well, then you're not fine. You're not paying the...
That's when you get the wackadoos. That's when you end up in the puzzle factory again.
Perhaps. But the thing is if you don't take it, then where are the pharmaceutical companies going to get the money?
Yeah, right. Fred's got a case of the sillies again.
I wonder how many rooms you could go into with three people where only one of them, where the majority of them were not taking something. I just probably a lot. But there's something like 1 billion people that take something. It's very strange. But yeah, who knows?
I mean, well, y'all take a little something to get by, you know.
Oh yeah, you're loving that teen.
I love
Hardy just consumes.
lozenges.
He's just always consuming nicotine.
Yeah.
But you don't like Zins.
I haven't tried one. I'll try it. Like I said, I'll try anything.
You could do a show with the Zins in.
I talk all the time with one of these in.
Yeah, because in the last an hour, you'd probably like it a lot. If you put a couple of Zins in your upper lip, you can't even see it. No one would tell you.
It's got to be bad for your gums, though.
Who knows? I don't think there's enough research on them to say. But if you're going to be ingesting nicotine, I'm not telling everyone to go out and do it. But if you're already doing it a lot and you want to keep doing it, I think that would be the easiest way to get it in your bloodstream.
All right, I'll try it.
Yeah, why not?
Bring me in some of your cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'll try a couple of those, see what it does for me.
Oh boy, once you take 20 milligrams of Prozac, woo! But then you got to take Wellbutrin, or it's hard to have an orgasm. So there you go. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
them. I took NC State because two things. One, I heard Cerrone Battle, who lives in North Carolina, saying that there was this wave of like 5-star receivers that all decided to go to NC State. And he said, so like, look out for that. And then yesterday, I heard someone talking about how Georgia Tech was playing Notre Dame in Dublin. Maybe someone will get peed out on that plane to start the season. And he's like, no one else is going to. He said, SMU can't win it. I mean, the idea they're going to come in the first year and win the conference. And he's like, if you want to throw money, go to Virginia Tech or North Carolina State. And I said, that's two people that I happened upon talking about it. I said it would be almost unfair to the universe to not take these signs.
What was the number you got it at?
100 to win 600.
Okay.
That's big money.
And what's Florida State's odds? Are they much better, much worse? I mean,
I don't know, John. I just bet on NC State. I didn't go through and like meticulously go through. I was going because sometimes the universe points you in things. You overthink everything. You're too analytical.
I'm looking at him to win the whole damn thing right now. NC State plus 10,000.
I don't like them winning the whole thing.
Why not?
The whole kit and caboodle.
What do you like?
What, in college football? I've been told there's only
tiddlywinks.
There's in as an entire see again. Replay that, George. See if it made any sense.
That's harassment, is what that is.
Yeah, play that to HR. Dan, get me a meeting with HR. So here's the deal: to win the national championship, I've been told that there's only two teams that could possibly win, and that is Georgia and Ohio State.
Georgia's plus 280. Ohio State is plus 400.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know anything about college football. Apparently, those two teams are far and away the best.
Yeah, Oregon is, still up there at plus 650, not far behind Ohio State.
Where's Texas? I have a friend who bet Texas to win the whole thing.
Plus 850.
There you go.
It starts Saturday, the college football.
Week 0. Here we are.
Yeah, the college football starts on Saturday.
BC starts at Florida State.
Yeah, so they'll lose that.
Yep, and then they have Duquesne
and then they have Michigan State.
No, they're at Missouri, who's also ranked in
which
the top
they'll lose.
15.
Yeah, Missouri's good this year.
Missouri's really good. Actually, Missouri apparently is one of the best wide receivers in the country this year.
Oh, another Jeremy Maclin type. Remember Jeremy Maclin?
I do remember Jeremy Maclin.
He had blazing speed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michigan State comes.
Michigan State.
Are you going to the Michigan State game, Hardy?
Yeah, I would like to go to that game, and I understand it's probably not going to be a difficult ticket, so I can.
Oh, no, it's very difficult to get in BC games. So you're really married to your section. There's no getting down.
I haven't procured tickets yet, but I've been assured it won't be an issue.
No, it will not be an issue. I bid on tickets to a BC game years ago at one of those silent auctions at one of our events. And I think I bought them for like $200, like 2 tickets. And it was to a Pitt game. They were playing Pitt. And I was at my friend's house who lives right across the street from BC. And he goes to all the games because he can walk right across the street. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, dude, I'll see you later. I'm like, I got 50-yard line, like 5th row. And I go, I'll see you later. I've never been to a PC game. And I'm like, enjoy the nosebleeds. And so me and Milo walk over to the game, and we're sitting there. And then not 5 minutes later, in comes Jesse with his family, and they just sit next to us. And they're like, hey. And we're like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, yeah, you can sit wherever you want. Like, no one's here. Like, the student section is there, and that's full. Yeah. And everything else is just kind of up for grabs.
There's one corner of the lower bowl.
And I'm like, I'm the idiot who, out of all the things to bid on the thing that was good for the charity for overpricing it so much. But, Hotshot Freddie T gets a couple drinks in him, starts having to bid on things. Like when Crash won this, Crash at her first golf tournament won the signed Celtics basketball, which I'm sure he cherishes and has on display. Sure.
At the first one, who signed it? Ricky Davis?
Yeah, it was not a collection of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That white kid from Miami of Ohio was probably
Zerbiak?
on it. Zerbiak was probably on it.
Oh, God.
But first of all, it's a signed basketball. What are you going to do with that? and then it's a team that you don't even like.
I was just going to say,
and you paid way more than it was worth, and Crash didn't have any money.
He's not a basketball fan.
Crash had been fired from his job previous for saying you could win tickets at this bar event if you give oral to this guy in the bathroom.
And
that's public record.
So you can't do that?
No.
Just for future reference?
No, it's not allowed.
Yeah, the bidding
so you had no money, so you probably spent $1,000 on this dumb basketball that was worth nothing.
Forget about like the 15-year anniversary or doing as has been my idea for many years, just to do an oral history of sports radio in Boston. You could do an oral history of the bidding on items at Sports Hub golf tournaments and fill a pretty good sized book. And you could have the Crash story in there. You could have the guy who was guilty of the most heinous crime ever committed at a Sports Hub golf tournament under the stairs.
Dump under the stairs.
That guy was bidding on everything at the auction because he didn't understand what an auction was. It was just Rob Gronkowski signed football film. $1,000.
Was that the last year we were in Atkinson? Have we been back since?
No.
I think maybe we went back one more year.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sometimes you bid on something that's not worth enough, and sometimes you hit the lottery, and we have that coming up. But one of our own has achieved great luck and success in something that I do, and we'll explore that in just a moment.
Touch your...
I wouldn't want to do it in any other city.
Thank you, Boston, for making us your home for sports for the past 15 years. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox wound up with a split of their 4-game series in Baltimore yesterday. They fell 4-2 to the Orioles. Rob Refsnyder homered in the ninth for the Sox. Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman went deep for the winners. Sox are 3.5 games now behind Kansas City for the third wild card. They visit Houston tonight. Also, they have officially signed lefty Rich Hill to a minor league contract and promoted another one of their top prospects, infielder Christian Campbell, to AAA Worcester. Patriots went to another practice yesterday in Foxborough, and they were minus their top 2 tight ends, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. There's also a lot of concern for the team's offensive line, but Elliott Wolf told the media he's very confident in what he has.
Again, I think we're just trying to find the right combination. We feel confident in all these players, and we're just working to find the best group rather than the best 5 individuals.
The team's final exhibition game is on the road Sunday night against the Washington Commanders. Former Patriots defensive back Stephon Gilmore signed a 1-year contract with Minnesota. And former NFL and BC offensive lineman Gosder Sherrillis will be arraigned this morning. He caused a disturbance on a flight from Boston to Dublin late Saturday night. He allegedly urinated on another passenger. That forced the flight to return to Boston and authorities to meet the plane at the gate and take him off the plane. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Best Ford. Looking for great deals on a new Ford? Go to the Best first. Best Ford in Nashua. Head to bestfordofnashua.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Now, more Tuncher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Tuncher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. Do you guys ever collect the sports cards?
Yes.
As adults?
No. Not as adults.
I got very into it during COVID with my son, and we did ridiculous things. And it's funny because yesterday my son went, we were watching a movie. We were watching Ted, as a matter of fact. Me, my son, and my daughter in the basement. And my son said, and I said, there's a bunch of memorabilia in the other room, just in a closet, if you want it. And he went in there, and there was a Sean Kemp signed jersey, a Kevin Love signed jersey, a Tracy McGrady shoe that was signed. Like, just garbage. I have, like, just all this garbage, because what I would do is I would buy these boxes, and it said such and such athletes there's like 50 boxes. Here's 30 athletes that have something signed in 30 of them, and the other ones, whatever. And it would have 5 items in each box. So they're basically mystery boxes. So I've gotten Lawrence Taylor jerseys, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jerseys, but you would pay like $2,000, and they would send you this box, and then you'd go through it. It would be really exciting, and then you would go, "Oh, cool!" And then I would just like, how am I going to sell a Tracy McGrady signed shoe? Like, who am I going to sell that to? I'm going to get an eBay. How much do you charge for a Tracy McGrady signed shoe? I looked out of curiosity yesterday on eBay, and it was anywhere from like $70 to like $5,000. Like, I have no idea what the hell it's worth. I have no idea how to sell this stuff, even if I wanted to. But, this is a big, I don't know if it's as big as it was during COVID, but it's a high-stakes business. A lot of cards worth a lot of money. And our friend Grant Williams has gotten involved. Listen to this.
We got Grant Williams here. Okay, how much of a collector are you?
I'm new to basketball collecting. I've been collecting Pokemon cards, but today was my first day collecting basketball cards.
Oh, boy. Yep.
He's been so cool.
And we're off.
He collected Pokemon. You know those Pokemon cards, there's some of them that are really expensive, too.
Mm-hmm.
From the same place I bought all that memorabilia, you can buy Pokemon, the same thing. It's a mystery box of Pokemon cards. They've won. It's the Wallach.
They have Pokemon box breaks? They do?
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. It's not a box break, but it's distributed into boxes, and you get it, and it's not. The box breaks are stupid. You're watching some other guy open up the cards and then see what you get. What the hell's the point of that? Go ahead and buy the card yourself.
That cannot be true.
Crazy true.
Okay, all right. So
today I've already pulled a Jason Tatum high-rated Prism auto.
You could get that. You didn't even need the auto. You could get it signed yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I've also collected a acetate 7 out of 10 Anthony Edwards.
Wow, look at him with the terms already.
Yes.
Okay, don't say the next one. Don't say the next one. So I'm walking around here, and they're like, oh, my God, Grant Williams pulled a crazy card. Okay, so you buy 2018-19 National Treasures.
Yes.
Right? With $10,000 box?
10.5 is what I paid for it.
10.5, okay. And
so the guy's never bought cards before. He's walking around some convention, and Grant Williams decides to drop close to $11,000 on this National Treasures box. Now, I've opened a National Treasures box before, fellas.
Oh.
And you know the one card I was able to sell out of it? A Mo Bamba signed card with a jersey on it. Some guy sent me a picture. I was selling it on eBay. He sent me a picture of his Mo Bamba collection.
Wow. Okay.
His passion was Mo Bamba, not La Bamba. He won our contest, but he was not in that.
That's great, mijo, with the baby coming in our lessons.
$500. $500. I'll snap your neck. I take the $500. 9 times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 44.
You only see the turn. You don't see the road in front of you.
Top student.
The star of that is the Luca RPA. Show us what you got here. Where is it? Oh my God! Not only did you get the RPA, I can't even just pull that.
I just pulled it.
It's 9 out of 10. Okay. All right. So
10 out of 10 auto probably too. This is like sleek.
Okay. All right. So what was your reaction when you pulled it?
I screamed because like when I first bought it, I said, "So what can I do to get my money back?" And they're like, "Probably get a tray or like something like that." I said, "Okay,
that gets you
cool.
$10,000.
That gets you like $10,000, right?" And so when I'm opening, I get past it. I'm like, okay, I get an 8 tiny Archibald. I get something else, and I see this blue. I see a blue streak.
I have a Nate Tiny Archibald signed mini hoop. I swear to God,
Do
I do.
you really?
I do.
How
It's in
did
my
you
son's
stumble
room.
across that?
The same. What are you not listening? The
No.
same crap that I opened.
Same. All right, it was in the same box. All right.
Yeah. Because during COVID, I would get a box, and then I would put it in the garage for 2 weeks, and then I'd put on a hazmat suit and open it up with gloves on, and spray it.
Leave it in the sunlight.
I'd leave it in the sunlight, so I couldn't catch that dreaded cold.
I'm like, no, a little bit more. Luka Doncic, and I see 9 out of 10, and I just erupt. Everybody around me goes crazy too.
So your first day, people are going to say this is all unfair. This is first day.
First day.
Hiding in a box for 4 years, 5 years.
Mojo, what was it? Mojo Breakers, I think the name of it. Bought the box from them.
Okay.
And
all right. So the comp is $100,000. What have you been told? Have you gotten some offers?
Someone offered me $300 already.
Right now, before it gets graded, we're
I
at
even got
PSA
graded.
right
At
now.
PSA.
300,000?
Yep.
Someone offered him $300,000.
I was reading it could go for more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know one went for $1 million, but it was a 1 of 1.
Right.
National Treasures Luka rookie. And that's the place to open it. Because what do you care if you even sell it for less than it's worth? Believe me, if you're at a card show and you're holding something and someone offers you $300,000 for it, take the $300,000. Save yourself a lot of aggravation. There's no middleman. There's no auction house. There's no one taking a percentage. Just sell it. I would take the hit, just not to have the middleman to make it convenient for me. $300,000. Open up a box of cards. That dork is rewarded for everything. $300,000 for that card. He was already offered.
Offered $300. Another person offered $250. Another person offered $5.
Now I don't think money's going to affect.
What the hell? Who says things like that? I got offered $300. Another person $300. Wow, $300,000. Yeah. Then I was offered $250,000. And then $500,000. Why wouldn't you lead with $500,000? That's how much little money means to him. $500,000. $500,000 in your hand, just walking out. Hachi machi.
I think this is your first, maybe not. What do you think?
Listen, I said I got to give Luka first right to refusal just because he would buy this for like $1 million, I bet. So that's why I was like, let me make sure I call Luka. I FaceTimed him twice. He didn't pick up. He's in Slovenia right now.
That's very surprising that he didn't pick up his FaceTime calls.
That's why. Yeah. Because he's in Slovenia, not because he saw who it was either an unknown number or he had you in his phone.
I think if Grant Williams ever called me, I wouldn't answer the phone. Guess what happened, Luka? You're Luka Doncic. Hello. Guess what happened? What? I pulled one of your cards. Yep. Yeah, did you?
Good for you.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's right here. Hey, look, isn't that cool? It's worth. Someone offered me $250,000, $50,000, and $500,000. Here's my phone number. Call me back. 61745. Like everything's wrong with him.
So this is an interesting dynamic though in this. So if you're Luka, and Grant just said, I'll give him first right of refusal because I bet he'd buy this for like $1 million. Would you buy your own signed card?
No.
For $1 million?
No, I would not.
I don't even give you anything.
I don't think this one was signed.
No, I don't think it was signed either.
I think sometimes if they're signed, it's not worth as much. Maybe the National Treasures are worth more. But I think
you ruin the integrity of the card by signing it?
All I know is I have an Ozzie Smith signed rookie card, and it's worth less, and it's graded the same and worth less than the graded one. Huh. So that, I don't know. I could be talking out of school. I don't really know. No, it would be incredibly strange if I knew that something with my face on it was worth $1 million while I was living, while I was active.
And like, wouldn't you have one? Don't you get like one of everything that they make of yours?
No, the whole point is they've only made one. Like one of one is there's literally only one on the planet.
All right.
That's when cards the people who make cards got very smart, is they started making them really rare because in the 90s it's the junk wax era. They started pumping out too many cards, so none of those cards are worth much money. So they go, how can we make them more precious? And so there's a bunch of different variations of cards. And then with those National Treasures, which are expensive boxes, I got mine way before COVID. They're cool. They got like 10 cards in them, and they're like all signed and all cool. But $10,500 he spent. That's what to get into. That's what you want to get into. No, I wouldn't want my own card. It would be very strange.
So when it comes to getting the stuff that you have and turning a profit on it now, Fred, is there anything that you want to sell right now but you just haven't because you don't know how to do it or you don't know what to do?
I mean, there's stuff I'd sell. Like I have 1 million Mike Trout graded cards. I have a bunch of Shohei Ohtani cards that I'd sell, but I don't want to go through the rigmarole of trying to sell them.
Yeah.
I'll just wait until I'm broke, and then I'll really cash them in. I'll go to a pawn shop. That's where you get the best deals.
That is what gold and silver. You know, if we buy gold, just go to one of those places.
Yeah, I mean, there's one right there in Newton Center, right by the running store. I'll go in there. I'll put it on layaway.
Nice.
You know, see what I can do. All right, guess who's addicted to nitrous oxide? It's in an email that we got.
Oh.
The answer, John. Huffing it constantly. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. No, we'll find out what celebrity, based on an email and then stories I've looked at, who's addicted to nitrous oxide. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy. Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are. You can email us, jon@985thesportshub.com, Hardy at 985thesportshub.com, or Toucher at 985thesportshub.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Toucher and Hardy. You can follow me on Instagram at Fred Toucher and Hardy at Hardy985.
I'm very curious as to who this person is with the nitrous addiction because I did not get this email, I don't think.
No, you did not. This is from Nick. He says, not Nick Gemelli, because I've taken out all the ones that we get every day complaining about how the podcast just cuts off randomly.
Yes. I got a couple of those on Friday.
Yeah. Yep. There's always some problem with the podcast, but listen, Nick's doing his best in there. Don't worry about Nick. Freddie T, you were talking about MJ the other day and Matthew Perry, about how he was getting pumped with all this ketamine. Mm-hmm. Again, I've gotten a lot of emails about it. I listened to the Perry biography. He read it, and I've read a bunch of these addiction memoirs, and his was the one I'm like, this guy's screwed. Like, there's no way this guy's staying sober. His rationale for everything was like way off. It didn't seem like he was taking like a lot of responsibility for it. His colon exploded, and then he had to wear a colostomy bag for a long time. It was I didn't have a good feeling about him coming out. And then when I heard he was getting those nitrous, when he OD'd on nitrous, I'm like, there's no way that he went to a doctor's office and was getting administered nitrous for therapy, and that he OD'd from that at his house. Like, nitrous leaves not nitrous, what am I saying? Ketamine leaves your body, I believe, right away. I think when you leave the doctor's office, you're pretty much free of the ketamine. So he was getting injected. So anyway, Nick goes on to say, have you been reading up on the corrupt dentists who've been pumping Kanye full of nitrous? The same dentist is being exposed because he partnered with a hacker to blackmail patients as well as steal Instagram accounts to promote his business. I think Kanye is paying the guy tens of thousands of dollars a month for the nitrous. Oh, and that same dentist is now being exposed for implanting fake diamonds in rappers and athletes' teeth. So this is it. So Kanye West has a ex-chief of staff. Remember when he ran for president? Apparently, yes. He had a chief of staff.
He had already assembled his cabinet. And
remember the guy who was real controversial and was famous a while ago? That Milo Yiannopoulos guy. He's a gay guy. Yeah. Like, I guess that was the guy who was his chief of staff.
Okay.
He dropped this bombshell on August 7th and placed the blame on dentist Thomas P. Connolly. The ex-chief of staff believed Connolly was getting the rapper hooked in an attempt to diminish Yee's mental facility so that his business associates could extract millions of dollars from him. Kanye West and Connolly have denied the claims of nitrous addiction. And then this Milo fella has texts between the two where Kanye says, he goes, this needs to be a long-term goal. Kanye says, Connolly goes to Kanye that nitrous needs to be legalized. This is the long-term goal. And Kanye West responds, he just says, can I have the nitrous today? Connolly doesn't respond, which gets Kanye to say, Tom, you said you'd bring them today, checking in. After another period of silence, Connolly relents. He agrees to bring nitrous to the rapper at the Chateau Marmont Hotel in Los Angeles, where I have stayed. If you're the DEA, why don't you just, if you want small-time drug busts, just sit in the lobby of the Chateau Marmont. It's in everything. It's in every memoir. It's just, I was high at the Chateau Marmont. It's where Belushi died. Just get it out of the way. And who was he doing drugs with? De Niro and Robin Williams.
Robert De Niro?
Was there the night that John Belushi died.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You didn't know that?
No.
Never read the book Wired?
No.
Oh, you got to read Wired.
No, yeah, I know I do.
The Belushi family does not like that book. But it's Bob Woodward. Who you going to believe?
Is it a good book?
Even better movie. Starring Michael Chiklis as John Belushi. No, the book's good. It's very good. I remember I had my dad's copy of it from when I was a kid. It was. I think it sold. That's when people read books. I think
Yeah.
it sold a lot of copies. It was very good. So, ever seen the Steve-O? You can watch it on YouTube. Steve-O made a documentary about it's called PCP Saved My Life, and it shows him. He was real. I've never seen anyone as messed up on video as Steve-O, but he got to the point where he had all these nitrous cartridges, and his goal was never to breathe oxygen, just always to be breathing nitrous. So he'd go, hold the nitrous, put another cartridge in, go, suck in another nitrous cartridge, hold it in, and so his floor looked like a machine gun had just gone off, and all the caps were just laying on the floor. So it's all these like little tiny bottles of nitrous all over the place, and you can see his lips turn blue and his face turn blue, because the high of nitrous only lasts 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid when I did it, but it was
just at the
very
dentist
brief.
office. I mean, it's not like it's very brief. It's not like something that stays in your system. It's
And
like 10 seconds.
You've said this. You still get nitrous at the dentist?
I've gotten nitrous at the dentist, yeah.
I haven't gotten nitrous at the dentist in 20 years.
Okay, here's how you get nitrous. Not for cleaning or anything, but I told you I was going in to get the tooth put in oral surgery, and they said I got into the office, I sat in the chair, and the guy said it was an oral surgeon, and he goes, this is going to take about 90 minutes. And I went, huh? And he had a metal jack, and he said,
Jesus.
We're going to put this in your mouth and pry open and keep your mouth open. And I said, oh. And I looked over, I go, why do you have a heart monitor? And he goes, oh, that's only for patients we use anesthesia. I go, hello.
Yeah, I'm that patient.
I'm that patient. And he goes, well, it's going to be like, and now I'm in the chair about to have the procedure. He's like, well, it's going to be like $800. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, Matthew Perry, he's like, he paid $50,000 for ketamine. I'm like, yeah, he had the money. So it's like I'm like, who would say no? Who would say no to that? Like, so when you get in an MRI and they're like, yeah, like, here, it's like a prescription for Ativan. Like, why wouldn't you just get the Ativan? People are like, no, I don't want it. Take it. But yeah, so I said to the guy, he said, the heart monitor. I go, what are those for? And he said, anesthesia. I go, yeah, I want anesthesia. No, I want to sit here for 90 minutes with a metal jack in my mouth while you're screwing around doing oral surgery on the furthest back tooth on the top. Like, really jamming stuff in there. No, I would like to be awake. I don't want to be asleep. And, they don't knock you out like breathing tube. They just, so before it, what they do is, because it's I guess it's like painful a little bit for when they start giving you the anesthesia, is they'll give you some nitrous to calm you down.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't do much because it's mixed with oxygen. It's not like, pure nitrous. Believe me, it wasn't like I was like, woohoo. And then it start the drip, and then you just go out.
Yeah, and who knows with Kanye, but it seems like that'd be a tough thing to get addicted to. Like the Steve-O story, that just sounds like almost like a borderline stunt. I just
No, he was addicted, really addicted to it. It's scary. It's scary, dude. It's scary. Like it's really bad, and then it screws your brain up so much that he's sitting going, he's by himself. He's doing it by himself. He's in the throes of like a huge drug addiction. He's not doing it. It's not like a jackass hit me in the balls with a bowling ball.
When you started describing that, that's what I assumed it was.
Oh, no. It wasn't for fun.
Wallach, you ever do nitrous?
No.
Have you ever smoked weed?
No.
How is that possible?
I don't know, but it's true. I haven't.
Even now that it's legal, was it because it was illegal?
Oh, now that it's legal, of course. Now,
because the penalties
I didn't want
were
to be
harsh.
a naughty boy, you see.
The penalties were very harsh.
Yes.
What's like the heaviest drug or the heaviest thing you've ever been under the influence of?
Oxy.
Oh. All right.
That counts. Passed a kidney stone a while back.
Oh, yeah,
That's
but
what
that
they
was
gave me.
prescribed to you.
Yeah, it was prescribed. But
And when it is used for pain, it has a funny way of like working on the pain and not messing you up as bad. It's just, once the pain subsides, that's when you get into the trouble.
Yeah, with the opiates, whenever I've been prescribed it, all it does is make me itch. I can't sleep, and it makes me itch. I find them, I don't like them.
Try more magnesium.
We've been down that road, dude.
You get yourself into that vicious cycle.
Yeah, next thing it's vitamin K.
And it's St. John's wort.
I've heard stories. Then you're doing creatine and you just get huge.
Sarah from Everett.
Oh, boy.
Had a friend whose dad was an HVAC guy. My friends would huff Freon. I tried it once, and I thought I was on Wheel of Fortune.
Sarah hallucinating under Freon. Good. I know a kid who, when I was younger, that's funny that Sarah mentions it. They probably have a lot in common. He took a pipe out of the refrigerator to try to huff Freon.
Doesn't seem safe.
No.
This email tickled me, Fred. Hey, Hardy. I live out in Western Mass in Berkshire County. A couple of friends and I are playing Newton Commonwealth this coming weekend for the first time. Could you and Fred say what your favorite holes are there? Also, if you have any tips on the course, that would be a great help. Please do not ask John Nosferatu Wallach this question. We don't need him slithering around the office. Why are you the vampire?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What's that about?
Keep him in his chair and in eyesight. So I look, I played Newton Commonwealth a lot.
Just don't get hit with balls because they're flying over your head. You'll have a tee box that's in the middle of the fairway.
I do find it tickled me that somehow he makes it sound like it's like a destination trip.
Well, he's going a long ways. What's your favorite two holes? I think he might be in on it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think anyone thinks Newton Commonwealth public course. I don't even know where it is, to be honest with you.
Oh, you never played it?
I have. But
it's over by BC.
Okay. I've played it. I just remember there's two courses that I played here that scared me. One, I believe, was Newton Commonwealth, and the other was one in Quincy.
Presidents.
Where I kept being afraid that the ball was going to hit me.
That's Presidents.
I played Presidents, I don't know, 50 times at least. And
yeah, you guys all knew the pro over there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was up in town a couple of weeks ago. I got a chance to play with him over at Granite Links.
Well, look at you.
But I never felt like unsafe there. Yeah, there's a couple of holes that, things get a little hinky. Newton Commonwealth, it's the routing. Obviously, they don't have a ton of land to work with. It's in Newton. But no, you'll enjoy it. I have favorite holes. I don't know. There's tips. I don't know. I don't have any tips. You don't want any tips from me.
John, where do you play against Sassafras?
Sassafras Pass. It's called Sassamon Trace. Sassamon Trace in Natick.
Yeah, John's just like, I'm off, fellas. What are you doing? I'm playing Sassafras. What?
If I get back from Falmouth in time.
Where?
Fred, this is from
Gone
Josh.
fishing.
Why do you treat golf like a bastard child? It is a sport, and you do a sports radio show. If you talk
this
baseball,
is from the blind guy that calls your show. No.
If you talk baseball for any amount of time, you can touch on golf occasionally, especially with the host of the great Sports Hub Golf Club on the show. Why waste such a valuable wealth of knowledge like that? Let's touch on some FedEx Cup standings.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If my throat ever gives out on me again and I take a month off, Hardy, you do a solid hour a day of golf talk, and then we'll check the ratings.
Maybe I'll start doing it right now. Scotty Scheffler is still number one atop the FedEx Cup point standings. Xander Schauffele's in second place. Hideki Matsuyama's
You know what
in
Scotty
third.
Scheffler's dad's name is? Scott.
Oh, that would make sense. Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
it is. It's Scott Scheffler.
Let me ask you this. Are you aware of what they do in the final tournament? I'm not trying to sucker you into golf talk, but it is interesting just sports-wise what they do.
I know what they do.
Yeah, they
put a cracker in between all of the last 10 guys. I understand. And John Daly won every time. You just go, hell yeah, I don't care.
Now, whoever's in first place will start the final tournament of the FedEx Cup Playoff Series at 10 under par.
Oh.
They start them at 10 under par.
Oh, wow.
Second place is at 9 under, 8 under, 7 under, respectively. There's only 30 guys in the last tournament. But if it's Scheffler, he'll start the tournament at 10 under.
I see.
I think it's stupid.
Well, it's
just figure out a way to where they're all playing. What they're trying to avoid is years ago, before Tiger won the Masters in 18, I think, 19, he won the Players' Championship, the one at Eastlake in Atlanta, and everyone was losing their minds. He won the tour, the last leg of the FedEx Cup. He did not win the FedEx Cup because he hadn't amassed enough points to even where if he won, he couldn't overtake, I think it was Justin Rose, who is in first or second place. So it was this big anticlimactic moment. Everybody was thrilled that Tiger won. They stormed the fairway. People are losing their minds. And it's like, he didn't actually win the $20 million here that we're giving away and all that stuff. So now whoever wins the tournament will win the FedEx Cup, and that's why they stagger the scoring at the start of it.
It doesn't seem like much motivation to get into that position, like a one-stroke lead over a guy. I mean, you could easily overcome that if you're second. So doesn't that cheapen the tournaments before it?
Especially if the gap between first and second point-wise is large, you only get one stroke.
Yeah, exactly. So what's my incentive for winning? The other tournaments that are before the final one, I'm like, what the hell is the point of
I'm
it?
700 points ahead of this guy, and he's one shot back when we start?
Yeah, exactly.
The math is hinky, the ratios are hinky, but the hinkiest thing of all is the fact that somebody is teeing it up, haven't played a hole yet on Thursday, 2 weeks from now, and he'll be at 10 under par.
Yeah, I mean, that's just insane. What's next?
We're gonna
integration? That's what they're saying at the PGA offices. Now we got to integrate?
It's a shame you have to wait till Sunday.
I know. I mean,
we're 6 days before you get a chance to talk about this at length.
I blame them for the suicides. When they switched to that format, I mean, just people started offing themselves like there was no tomorrow.
Does Sirius have an all golf channel?
Yes. Yes.
I listened to it over the weekend. Yeah, PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92.
Are they just playing the tournaments at this time of year?
Well, I mean, Thursday through Sunday, it's pretty much wall-to-wall tournament coverage, but then during the week, you get some chat shows.
Oh, really? What's a drive time?
No, well, John, what you should be focusing on is the beauty of golf on the radio.
They do it.
You think it's exciting on television.
They do it.
Wait until it's been described.
You know what? As a radio guy, they do a pretty good job. You'd be impressed with how they cover it on the radio.
I'm surprised you'd like it because that doesn't sound like you liking anything involved with golf.
I'm saying I like it as a radio guy too, Fred. There is the art of doing radio play-by-play versus TV play-by-play. How do you do it for golf? Listen to those guys. They do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids' dreams. What do you want to do? I want to be on the radio. Doing what? Calling golf.
Golf.
I'm here on the third green. He's about 10 feet away. His putter's in his hand. He backs off. He takes a knee. He's looking at the line. He gets up. He walks over to the other side of the hole. He's walking. I believe he's going to the other side of the hole.
See,
we'll see.
I knew he had listened to it. This is exactly what it sounds like. Can't fool me.
He's talking to his caddy. What's he saying? I don't know. I can't hear. He's talking to the caddy.
There's words.
He's throwing grass. He's going down to pick the grass. Oh, he's picking the grass. Now he's tossing the grass in the air.
He's checking the speed of the wind.
I can't confirm that, but that's what I believe he's doing.
And this is what you listen to on weekends.
If there's a big tournament going on and I have stuff to do,
the kids are in the car.
Well, they demand it.
When the kids are in the car, you got to watch out. They'll learn it. They might know about the Haktua girl at that point. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, gents. Who in the history, I think this is one of the greatest questions of all time in terms of athletic performance, prowess. Who's the better athlete, Danny Noonan or Shane Falco in their collective sports?
Who's Shane Falco?
Quarterback for the Replacements, Keanu Reeves.
The Replacements is not a good movie. I mean, Danny Noonan.
A lot of people, Noonan had too much hip sway on his follow through. Let me tell you, that's kind of coming back into style. As long as you get the weight shifted, don't worry about whether the hips are turning or just, sliding through. The most important thing is to get that weight over on the left side. So Noonan, you're okay.
Noonan gets to have sex with two girls, and he rides a bike. So right there is just enough credit to Danny Noonan. What are you going to pick you up on? Well, this old Schwinn. I live in a
more
house
times than the Rose of Tralee, I'm told.
Yeah, she's not
She
so.
sucked.
And you know what's great is that she's actually hot in like every other movie she's been in.
You probably liked her in Animal House, creepo.
Oh, no. No. The statutory rape scene?
Yes, that's the one.
No. Or not even statutory. It's statutory and. It's like the guy that I went to high school with that showed up to the reunion, and they were like, what have you been up to? Oh, I've been in jail for what? Oh, I had sex with my underage cousin. Thanks for coming to the reunion.
Glad you made it.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, now it's just going to be uncomfortable as hell.
Excuse all of us while we go over there and talk about you.
Now, is this are you saying, Fred, this is the entire senior class? Oh, no. This is kind of a random reunion where only about 20 people showed. So there's plenty of FaceTime. What are you doing? Oh, well, trying to put my life back together. I'm a felon, on account of the incest and the rape. Oh, boy. I'm glad I wasn't there. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox are beaten in Baltimore yesterday.
read Twitter, and I'm sure you all did. We were supposed to have Drew Bledsoe on at 9:40, and if I've checked out, it's because he's too sick to do the show, and I got to throw away all my questions.
Is Zoe still out there? So it was theorized by John Wallach. Throw out all your Bledsoe questions. It was theorized by John Wallach that if he were coming on with Zoe, he would have rallied, answered the bell, and sickness or not, still phoned into the program.
Well, it was a paid sponsorship, so I don't know. That's on him.
Bledsoe was supposed to call in. He tapped out.
He's not.
Yeah.
But this is paid too. This hour of Toucher and Hardy is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And let me real quickly just read this. The Stack is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua. Looking for great deals on new Fords? Go to the Best First. Best Ford in Nashua. That's Best Ford in Nashua. Head to the bestford.com. Here it is. The website is thebestford.com.
So Bledsoe was supposed to call in, Zoe.
What's the problem?
He's not feeling well and couldn't make the
Dan,
telephone
was it a
call.
junket? He's doing a junket and he bagged out.
I didn't know that, but yes, it appears as though a junket.
It's for FanDuel.
A bunch of stations.
Like 10 minutes with us, 10 minutes with the next station, 10 minutes with the next station.
My theory was if you had been here, he would have managed to rally and still.
Oh, he wouldn't have blown me off, yeah.
So he's one of your best friends.
He's a good friend. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say best friend. Yeah.
Have you been out to Montana?
We went once, yes.
How much did he bother you about the wine?
Oh, he doesn't bug me that much about the wine. He actually gives me a lot of
He's
wine.
constantly talking about the wine.
Oh, the wine's great. But I tell you what.
Can you really tell a difference? If I was to bring out 3 bottles of Merlot, would you be able to tell me which one would be rated the highest based on your palate?
Probably not Merlot, but probably
Cabernet.
Yeah.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
You could do that. You think
that one? Yeah, his is really good.
That's a very thick wine.
I go to Trader Joe's to get our wine because you got a great wine selection there, and it's the cheapest. You know, me looking for a deal. It's like going to Home Depot.
My neighbor was just telling me a story over the weekend how she was having a Chardonnay at some restaurant. She's like, "This is the best Chardonnay," and the waiter's like, "Right? Isn't this good?" And she's like, "Yeah. Oh my God." And she said, "We sell bottles of it." She said, "I would love, what? Get a case or whatever, 6 bottles. I want to take." Great. That's fantastic.
How much?
$800.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Like, I didn't like it. But then I think she was with her boss, so she's like, she can't, make a thing of it, and she didn't want to look like an idiot, so.
I like that the restaurant had cases of wine ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know where they were.
It would have been in Nepal.
But he is on a 3-hour time difference, so I for him to call you guys would be like, what, 5 o'clock? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6:49. Who would be up at that time? Duh.
I'm sure FanDuel's paying him well, so.
Listen.
Get your ass up.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
If it's a junket, we're not going to have him on now.
He must be so sick to not call in.
Why don't you find out how sick he is?
I'll call him later.
Maybe you'll take his temperature.
All right.
All right.
Hey, Walk, how you doing, buddy?
I'm
hey,
feeling...
Nick, good job on the podcast, man. When I try to get a couple shows last week, it cuts out.
Yeah, Nick's really bad at it. Is this someone called C? C?
Yes, it is.
Hey,
good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, thank you for, I speak for many New Englanders for not having Drew Bledsoe on, so thanks for the experience.
It's not heartbreaking.
Listen, Hardy,
yeah.
I canceled my XM radio subscription today for one big reason. It was Jack Russell's announcement that he passed away.
Yeah.
On Keith Ross show on Urination. And what happened was they, immediately followed up with a Great White song.
Yeah.
And then after that was done, they followed up with Dawkins' Into the Fire.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That would be totally classless.
Yeah.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
Well, you're telling me Keith Ross? I mean, I don't know who the PD is there or how that works, but that's something that was given some thought.
How do they pick the music? Is it like a guy or is it a computer?
I don't know.
Okay. Would they just hand it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
picking out 6 hours worth of songs every Saturday and Sunday.
If they did that as a joke, yeah, it's not good. And if they, so I don't know. I don't know if they do it on purpose. Those things are so corporate. I don't know if they would.
Yeah, my guess is they probably those logs were probably generated 3-4 days in advance, and then someone had to go in there and cut a break. Like day of or something, insert, a Great White song, and they paid no attention to what was coming up after that was already programmed days ahead of time.
But I like that
It just seems like it's too much of a coincidence. And
Well,
it's,
listen, if it made you get rid of
it's
XM,
not
I'm
like
all for it.
Keith Roth doesn't have an edge to him. He does. He's basically a rock and roll Hair Nation, wise guy.
So
know it all.
As soon as I heard about Jack Russell, I immediately went to Eddie Trunk. He did 48 hours of straight radio. It was like Howard Stern at 9/11.
He's got a call-in show, and why don't people from New England call in droves?
I don't know. I
Keith Roth.
don't know. I don't know. Thank you, C. I don't know about that. That's a man who's very invested in Hair Nation. He's saying, is that really the wise guy of Hair Nation? The guy he was talking about?
I've never ever listened to that channel. No idea. I was never listened to that music. I liked Whitesnake, and that was it.
Boyzo wears a lot of cologne.
Well, he just came in here and sprayed a bunch of stuff.
He doused himself sitting right next to me.
He unpacked his bag, which contains a bottle of Gatorade Zero.
Oh, someone's hungover. The cologne and
Utz honey
Gatorade
barbecue
Zero.
chips, and then he took out a can of aerosol hairspray,
Back down here.
an Old Spice deodorant,
Yep.
and then some other and then the bottle of cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Trunk. Top 5 Whitesnake albums. Shane, go ahead.
Hey guys, good morning. Hello from Tucson. I want to share along another story that came up over the weekend, Hardy, on Sirius XM. Why is there a need to play John Cougar Mellencamp? I know that's one of Fred's favorite musicians.
What?
It's just that was a joke, Fred.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shane.
What channel did you hear it on?
It wasn't Hair Nation. It was I think Vinyl Classic.
Oh, classic vinyl. Yeah.
Why are you
Classic
guys all
vinyl.
listening to music on XM? They have Spotify. You can listen to whatever you want, and they make playlists. They curate them to your own taste. The computer does.
Some people like the DJs.
Listen, if they had live DJs, I'd invest in it too. But they don't have live DJs, and they pay you a slave's wage.
I just heard some commentary about John Mellencamp. It may be, actually, I picked up a Sunday Globe yesterday. I've been just an online subscriber now for years, but
They never delivered it to my house.
Well, since my mom is in town, I'm like, I'm going to go out and get an actual
old people
newspaper,
love the
so we can sit there and read the newspaper together, which we did. It was a very nice Sunday morning.
Did you do the and did you do the crossword?
I did not.
Crossword together.
I did not. But I think it was in the Globe magazine. The guy was talking about how much he hated John Cougar Mellencamp, and it had some snobbery working already with my musical taste in the '80s. I didn't have a problem with John.
No, neither did I.
John Cougar or John Mellencamp. I thought the Lonesome Jubilee is a decent album. I like the Scarecrow album.
Paper and Fire is a great song.
Like there's a couple of cheesy songs on Scarecrow, but the rest of it's really good.
Well, when he was John Cougar, he sucked. But then when he became John Mellencamp, he got better.
He tells a great story about recording his big, epic "I Need a Lover," and how they were, working on stuff in the early days. It was either that album or the one before. They walked down the hall. The Eagles were recording Hotel California, and he walked past their studio, and he's like, "What are we doing? Like what?" Yeah, this isn't going to be anything compared to that. Say what you will about the Eagles. If you heard that, you'd be like, "Oh, that's going to be massive."
You think you think that it was that?
I think it was
in real
probably
time?
that identifiable when they
Really?
were recording that album. He loves the Eagles.
Yeah.
I love them.
All right. Well, it's time for your show, as a matter of fact. That'll do it for us. Enjoy your days. Bye.
Good job, Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac. Good job.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Clogged drain never happens at a good time. John Sewer and Drain Cleaning with over 50 technicians on the road.